Hello, everybody. Welcome to the pub. It's Friday night. I hope you all are doing well. A beautiful day out there. And yeah, what do we have here so far? Just about 4 minutes late. Sorry about that. RW, Jess Stevo, Last Dance. Thanks for being here, y'all. Right on. Hey, Scum TV. What's up, dog? How you doing? Good to see you, man. Finishing up on Goon's stream. Cool. Right on. Yeah, I didn't catch Goon tonight, so I'm here instead. What up, Scum? Good to see you, man. And no, we're not going to be sharing the referral link. Yeah, what a wild week in politics. Wild and crazy. Seems to be the good audio tonight. All right, cool. Seems to be the modus operandi here of this presidency. We have lost our secretary. No, who did we lose? Well, Mike Walls. I get them confused. Mike Walls is out. What's his official title, Last Dance? Throw it in the chat. And I guess it's because of the Signal chat, predominantly. National Security Advisor. Yeah, there you go. So he's out. Hegseth's still there. Some people might think he should go. I don't know. Ooh, that wire does not look good like that. What can we do to fix that? Nothing. That's unfortunate. This fucking wire. Come on. Just live with it. That is silly looking, though. All right. Well, I've changed the setup a little. I suppose I could try this. Yeah, now the microphone's visible. That's fine. Big haircut. Is it big? Or is it just a haircut? Yeah. It's all gone. It's all gone. Gone. Yeah, major. Yeah. Yeah, it's a big change. You're right. I know. I was ready for it. I was getting sick of the long hair. I was doing some roof work the other day and it was windy. The long hair was like, my hat was not helping. It was just insane. And yeah, you know, it's 2019. There was a time where you couldn't get a haircut here because of COVID. And so I didn't get a haircut for a little while. Hair started getting long. And then hi wife, was like, well, grow it out. Looks good. So I did. Now we're almost 6 years later and we had a reset back to short hair again. It's not to mean that it won't go long again someday. Could be that old guy, 60-year-old with long hair, but now I'm going to be short hair guy for a while. So that's that. And some downsides to the long hair as well. Not much you can do with it. It's either the Fabio or the pullback. No. You know, I saw a few weeks ago there was a barber that it's just a bungee hook that hangs connected to the door frame. It's nothing to see there. Right? Exactly, Topple. I hear you, man. No rage thing. I just happened to find a barber that took appointments for one thing. It's nothing worse than going into a barber shop having to sit there like some plebe waiting for a haircut. To hell with that. Appointment. It's the only way to go. Once I found that place, I was like, well, it's inevitable. So thus was the start of it. Yeah, long hair is good for dudes too. I'm an old metalhead, but all the old metalheads cut their hair. You know, James Hetfield, for example, short hair. I guess Bret Michaels still has long hair. He's kind of a hairband guy. I don't know. Could be. We're at it's never going to be triple on the Friday night, bro. It's often a slow night, so which is fine. We've had some pretty boisterous pubs here with more of a debate style than a pub style, which is fine. You guys know I'm all good for everything. I don't really care. And I don't police this place very much. Yeah, that's exactly what the guy who works with me said. The first thing he said was very professional. That's not what I was going for, but whatever. Thank you, though. I don't know. What's the professional beer? Like, what's some craft brew? Tell me, Topple. What is it, peanut butter whiskey? I'm not drinking that. Stuff's foul. Fat Tire, is that a microbrew or craft brew? I'm from the microbrew era, which nobody says micro anymore. It's all craft. Samuel Adams used to be a microbrew. You still say micro. Okay, cool. All right, let's light this thing up if you fellas are ready. Yeah, I got a whole stack of these babies. I don't know what to do with. Air elastics. Yeah, exactly. I should have come on with a mustache. That would have been funny. But this doesn't work as a mustache. It works as a full face or a goatee, but as a mustache, no, not so much. Massport. Interesting. Do you know what Massport is? It's like the agency that runs Logan Airport and stuff. Okay, yeah, fine. Sure. Good enough. It's actually something else too, but you're right. It controls the airport, and it's the disaster that is Logan Airport that has like 5 state troopers screaming at every car that drives by to keep moving. All run by Massport. How's it going, man?
All right, how you doing?
Pretty good, thank you.
Yeah, I'm a little tired this week.
Yeah, I am too. I'm exhausted, but what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You're an airport guy. You've flown into Logan.
It's been a long time, but yeah, I have flown into Logan.
Was it chaos back when you flew in?
Yeah, it was chaos. Every airport that's busy is chaos, though. No matter how hard they try to organize it, it's just chaos.
It's chaos, yeah. So it's not different. So you're telling me there's not one well-managed airport in the country?
Not really. I mean, Denver is as nice as any of them.
It's new, right? It's new-ish.
Relatively newish, yeah.
Right.
But it's the same problem, really. When you have a lot of flights arriving at the same time, and you got to get a connecting flight, you're no matter what airport it is, you're going to be on a mad rush trying to make your way through the crowd that's madly rushing in the opposite direction, and it's never going to be pleasant. The worst I've ever been in is Dallas Fort Worth.
Hmm.
and it's because it's so spacious. You have to basically walk like 2 miles to get to your
Right.
connecting flight gate. I mean, it's insane. Or you could risk it and go on the little train that goes around the inside.
Right.
But you got to either that or you study very, very hard and figure out exactly when that train's going to get there and when you're going to be exiting your flight, and
Mm.
how much time do you have. I don't know.
LaGuardia now has expanded. There's a ton of new stuff there. A
Mhm.
couple years ago, we were there. And if you walk past something when you're trying to get to something, like you have to walk down one hallway and then like double back at a 45-degree angle to
Uh-huh.
get to where you're trying to go. If you miss that double back hallway and you keep going, it's crazy the way these places are laid out, man.
It is crazy.
And the signage is decent, but when you're in a chaotic situation, you miss stuff. And
Well, I mean, if you've been to the airport and you're experienced and you kind of, it's just like street signs or highway signs. Most of the time, they're for people who already know, you know, the area. It's kind of bizarre. The signage around like DC. If you're a stranger coming to town for the first time, you're going to get lost even with all the signs, because sometimes a sign will appear after the exit that it's telling you to take. And, the first time you come to that, you're going to miss it and you're going to say, that's the stupidest sign I've ever seen. But after that, you're going to know where to go for that exit.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a rare case. I also found with airports, traveling with a family is far more challenging.
Oh, yeah.
If you're by yourself with a carry-on, it's simple. You add a spouse and a child or more than one child on, and then also all that baggage.
Yeah.
And you're watching the kid or kids, and you're watching the wife and trying to keep everyone corralled. And that means distraction. That means you're missing this, you're missing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, flying alone is easy, man.
Right.
And I've done it like twice in my life. Otherwise, I've been with the fam. So that's just is what it is. It's still a marvel to get from Boston to, Sarasota in under 4 hours.
Yeah.
Where behind the wheel, you'd be, 1,200 miles, 1,300 miles.
Yeah.
With the stops and an overnight, a couple of days, at best. Fucking awesome. It's so cool.
I enjoy, my favorite mode of transportation is train. And that's true, even though I think Amtrak is pretty lame.
I love Amtrak, dude.
I still find the train to be the most relaxing way to go from point A to point B.
What's the longest you've traveled on train? How many days?
Nah, I've never traveled farther than Washington to New York.
I went from Chicago to San Francisco on Amtrak. It was one of my favorite memories of travel. They have the viewing car where you can like sit, and it's all a big glass window, and like you have your own bed, and you have also a dining cart, and the meals were all really good, and it was cheaper than, I can't remember. It was just very inexpensive back then compared to what I thought it was going to be.
Did you go through Arizona and then go up the coast to San Fran?
Going straight through, hitting like the breadbasket and watching the same hill pass like 50,000 times, and then hitting Sierra Nevada and going up through the mountains, back and forth through the snow, and then down on the other side. But in between like Chicago and Sierra Nevada, it's hard to tell where you are.
Yeah, I took a train from Massachusetts to Northern California by way of Arizona. So we went diagonally across the country and then went from Arizona, New Mexico, through San Diego, up the entire length of California.
Cool.
That was 4 days. on a train.
Is it on the coast of California or in the side of California more?
50-50, but pretty close to the coast.
That's cool.
So yeah, there was gorgeous views, and we happened to catch some various different citrus fields in with the full-on ripe fruits on them, and it's a trip to see, I don't know, 100,000 lemon trees full of lemons. I was like, whoa, like one is something, but it was just a lot of yellow. It was so cool.
It puts into perspective how grocery stores are so full all the time with citrus.
Yeah, every little stinking one is loaded with it. It's unreal how they can do that, man.
It blows my mind. This might be a bit of a digress, but BWI Airport Last Dance. You're not a fan of that one, or?
No, I'm not.
Is there? Why are you? Because I always enjoyed going through there. It was always pretty quick and easy.
It really is surprisingly not quick, considering how small and how few flights leave and go there. And the international terminal was just horrible, ugly, smelly, delay, slow, and just it was just a horrible experience.
We've had very different experiences there. The only freaky experience was just after 9/11 when the drop-off pickup area. Soldiers would be out there with their AR rifles, like pointed at all the cars, basically. And if you stop for more than just enough time for the person to basically fling themselves out of the vehicle and keep driving, they'd come up to the car and yell at you and be like, "Move, move!" And you're like, "I'm a freaking American citizen, bro. Do you see me trying to blow anything up right now?" A bit much.
Yeah.
What's BWI again? Baltimore Washington International?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Interesting. Let me ask you guys this on the same. We were kind of, hey, Martin, what's up, buddy? Oh,
Martin.
Long time
Howdy.
no see. Good to see you, man. I
See you,
hope
Martin.
you are well, and I hope you've got prosperity and peace.
Absolutely.
And he's a good dude, man. Join in if you want. Anytime ever, Marty. You're the man. Let's go back to that lemon thing I was talking about, and you said stocking of the shelves with citrus. Yeah. So there's some grumbling that there's going to be some food shortages and shortages of other things as well coming up here.
By who, when?
Just some things that people are saying. Different prognosticators, different people, probably a bit alarmist, but I'm just asking, do you think there's any possibility of it? I mean, certainly with cheap shit from China under $800 or whatever, that's probably going to be harder to come by or more expensive.
I mean, you're already seeing that now with the Temu orders slapping the fat taxes on, people normally paying $9 are now having to pay 50 or 60. So that is happening. But when it comes to food shortages, I'm not feeling that one.
Okay.
Well, we do import food. There are growing seasons for various things, and sometimes they are south of the border, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if the global market is supplies you things for a good price, no matter where they're from.
I guess we have till winter to see if we're going to play ball with Mexico then.
Oh, I don't. Eventually, Trump will give up on these stupid tariffs.
So you think they're stupid?
Yes, I do.
Do you think tariffs at all are stupid if properly used?
I think they're a bad idea in general, but the way Trump's doing them is 100% stupid.
So do you think other countries treat us unfairly with their tariffs?
I do.
Okay.
But we still have, even with that, we still do very well. We have a high standard of living. Things are good.
So what would the tariffs correct? Is the money made from tariffs going to go towards the debt?
Yeah, of course it will. You know, money is money, and if you earn money, then it'll go towards the debt. Theoretically, unfortunately, it might just be an excuse to spend money rather than save it. So, you know, I think Trump has been saying that the money he makes from tariffs will fund his tax cuts. Well, then we're still going to be, you know, we're still not making any progress on the debt,
Mhm.
right?
But
So,
you don't see and read about multiple corporations that are coming in and dumping money now into the American economy to do business here, as well as multiple nations that are reworking their trade deals so that they're more in our favor instead of just taking advantage of us.
uh, I've heard that people are doing trade deals and they're going to be more in our favor. I haven't seen any that are really of any significance at all. There's just a lot of talk. Um, and I don't think we are disadvantaged. I mean, you could pick out various aspects of our industrial base and say that that's not good. And there's a lot of aspects like that because of global trade. But you know, the alternative is to the alternative is to erect high trade barriers and lower our standard of living.
Did
Hmm.
doesn't it seem like at the end of the day of all this tariff bullying that it looks like we're going after China in an economic war? It looks like we're kind of making new deals with other nations like India and such to be the new slave labor so that China is foobarred. That's what I'm seeing happening.
I'm not seeing that. Clearly, China is a target, but I don't. Anyone makes it. You know what you're arguing is this is Trump's 3D chess plan to have us come out ahead of China. And
But
I just don't
understand
believe
why.
that's just never. There's not a hint that Trump is capable of 3D chess in any game, any aspect at all.
I mean,
Well, in the press conference the other day, he said, well, you may not be able to have 30 dolls, but you'll be able to have 2, and they may cost a couple dollars more.
Right. How is that a good thing?
Right. So he sort of joked about it like, oh, who needs so many dolls? Like, you'll get a couple dolls and you'll be happy, is what that sounds like to me.
Yeah, that's
Sounds a little
that's-
dictatorish.
well, it sounds like the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab and his,
the difference is that
you'll own nothing and be happy.
the difference is that you own the 2 dolls. You're not just subscribing monthly to have the doll in your hands.
How about if I own 30 dolls?
Then you're a good consumer.
Well, the point is, if he's harming the consumer by making it impossible to even find dolls, or when you do, they're going to be more expensive, then how does that actually help Americans? If he's just doing it to offset the money that's lost from tax cuts, what's the gain here besides lack of dolls or whatever thing? It does sound silly we're talking about dolls per se, but insert anything there.
It's just consumerism in general. You can't have as much if there's less to have and it's more expensive. It won't affect the rich as much, but the middle and lower class will have less dolls. I'm not fully against it because I don't think people need a whole bunch of something to be happy if they have enough.
Yeah, that drives me crazy. What you said when people, it's the same thing with gun control. I hear people say, "Why do you need, an AR-15?" And the question isn't. It's not up to you to decide what I need. Maybe I just enjoy using an AR-15. This idea that there's some central bureau that's going to decide what we need and what we don't need, and whether we need 2 of these or 3. That just no.
But you still have access to them. You can still, if you really want 30 dolls, get 30 dolls. But as the normal consumption style we have now, that everybody can have 30 dolls if they really want them, it's not going to be like that anymore. Probably.
I don't want to hear anybody. uh, deciding whether my consumption style is morally acceptable or good for the nation or good for nationalism or good for anything. This is part of what freedom means. It means that things happen as they happen, and it's not good or bad, right or wrong. It's what individuals decide, and the market responds to these decisions. And I don't, there was one story that came out that China made like 2,000 ships last year, and the U.S. made two. And that might be true, but you're not going to make more ships just because you stop allowing people to buy Chinese ships. I mean, that's not going to work.
I mean, let me say it this way at least. I don't think it's a moral aspect or a judgment towards other people. I personally don't feel affected if I can't have 30 Temu dolls for cheap, because I would rather have 2 high quality dolls.
That's fine for you.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
For me, I
true
don't
now.
feel affected by it.
But
Then
for
if you-
someone, I've never shopped at Temu, but now if somebody goes to Walmart and has a couple kids and they want to get each of them a couple dolls, then now it's like, oh, well, dolls are, twice the amount of money and their selection is far less. So we're going to have to do what we have to do and not be able to satisfy you kids. I won't be able to buy you what I want to because it's not available or it's more expensive, one or the other. For you yourself, that's totally cool. I hear you, but that's not going to be applicable to every person or family.
No, I agree that the majority of the American lifestyle is the Walmart consuming experience. And it's not a judgment. It's just that's our way of life in America. That's what we go and do.
Yeah, if you want quality dolls, and you're not the only one, then that's a market that the free market should be able to respond to.
Right.
And and that's true for anything you want.
Mm-hmm.
And the bigger that free market is, the better chance you'll get what you want. And conversely, the smaller that market is, the reduced chance that you'll get what you want. And like in the extreme end, like in the Soviet Union, you get one thing. There's and that's it. And you get in line for it because the market is artificially shrunk. So what Trump's doing is shrinking the market.
Yeah, this reminds me. Go ahead, you can finish.
Oh, so it just means that overall your choices will be reduced and everybody else's will be reduced.
This reminds me of a scene from the movie Back to School when the British economics teacher says to the kids about widgets, we're going to produce widgets. And Rodney Dangerfield, as a student, he's a businessman, says, what are widgets? What is that? And he says, it's a fictional object. And he says, well, let's make it something. And then the teacher says, okay, fine, transistor radios. And boom, Rodney Dangerfield goes, oh, the Chinese will kill you on labor costs. They'll ship them here for 10 cents on the dollar, yada, yada, yada. And that's exactly right. I don't know if you guys remember that movie, Back to School. It's kind of I mean, we're talking widgets. We're not talking dolls. We're essentially talking anything, really.
It's a variable, yeah, X.
It's an X, a widget, if you will. I don't see the... I go back and forth with this. When somebody has a good argument for tariffs, sometimes it can make sense. It's just, where does the money end up going is what I want to know. It's if it's going to essentially reimburse an upper level tax break, then that's not really helping us at all. And the bottom line is the national debt. He's doing all of these things with Doge to cut this, to cut that, to cut the other thing. If he's going to have tax breaks at the same time, are they going to offset each other and have it be like a net zero or whatever? You know,
Another
I wanted.
aspect, sorry.
Go ahead. No, I'm just done. I'm done. Go ahead.
Another aspect that I think is involved with having a lot of cheap consumption in America is that another nation is becoming a slave nation to provide those materials for cheap consumption. So
Yeah, how do you define slave nation?
so if we're getting a bunch of shoes for cheap so that we can have, you know, easy shoe consumption to purchase, the people that are making those shoes are making basically nothing.
Like, for
So
example, food.
Wu Chong
So so say you're saying China, for example. Yet the
or
Chinese,
Apadaka Baka, I don't know.
well, the Chinese standard of living has increased immeasurably since they have been playing this global trade game. So they're not slave labor. They've actually been doing better than ever.
It's
And it's the
interesting
same
to
thing
hear
for
that.
Vietnam. It's the same thing for all these countries that are what people call, slave labor. They're all doing much better than they were before.
Is
Right.
there anyone that's opposed to that view? Is that just a blunt objective fact, or
I'm sure there's, like anywhere, I'm sure there's a different opinions on whether the quality of these jobs is good, just like they would be here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Cup of Tea says stop buying $20 shoes for $150, morons. Yeah. There's a lot of that going on. A lot of branding, paying for high-end brands for sure. But you're never going to be able to find the cheap shoes anymore. They're all going to be expensive, name brand or not, seemingly.
right?
A
I do believe
$20.
that it's going to change America's way of living. What we buy, how much we buy of it, that type of thing is already changing. I mean, for me personally, I don't feel like it's changing very much. I feel like I've been phasing out for a while of buying a bunch of cheap shit.
Mhm.
But for other people that are on board with it and that's what they were doing as their standard of living, then I think that it's more of a holy shit experience.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
this isn't for smart people. I can barely keep up, bro.
yeah,
I'll get drunker if that gets you on here. Then I won't be.
I'm just making it all up anyways. You just call
Uh-huh.
my bullshit and you win.
Are you drinking?
Yeah.
All right.
This is like, I feel like I'm not even like pulling facts or anything. I'm just talking out of my ass. So
Exactly.
I believe
That's
in you,
all,
Copper.
that's the smartest part of my body too.
Good. It's the most exercised part of your body.
There's a case to be made that China is more than just a trade participant. They're also a global adversary, or at least global competitor, along a different axis, namely national security, and they actually pose a threat to ultimately our way of life. I don't know. I certainly would be more sympathetic if that was the target of these tariffs. But to me, it's not like Trump has been hiding his game. He just takes the trade deficit with a country and uses that to compute the tariff amount. I mean, that's just about as stupid as anything I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's clearly not, and it has nothing to do with China, except that they have a huge trade deficit with the U.S.
Right.
It does have a different vibe experience based on the other nations. From my experience of what he did a reciprocal type tariff on all these nations. A lot of those nations then came to the table and were trying to work something out. But China is like, no, fuck you. And so he's like, well, fine. And then they keep bumping things back and forth, but quietly in the background, certain things are dropping off. Certain tariffs are being dropped on both sides quietly, while the noise is at 145% tariff.
Yeah, we'll see, but I just don't see any I don't see any reason for the tariff regime. I don't see how that gets you where you want to be if it's vis-a-vis China.
Yeah, I'm not sure why we're going after China currently. Like, there's no. I mean, I know that there's certain things that people don't like about China here and there, but I don't understand what the reasoning would be to crash their economy and have them pull their debt.
Yeah, I mean, I could say that China has eyes, for example, on they're kind of like Japan was after World War or before World War II. They're Japan's greater East Asia co-prosperity sphere is now sort of China's greater East Asia co-prosperity sphere, and they're kind of pursuing that in their own way.
Can you put that in layman terms? Because I definitely don't.
Well,
understand.
they seem to be looking to control the Philippines with and those countries, sort of building artificial islands and expanding their navy tremendously and pressuring them. And Taiwan is of course their prize in all this. And Taiwan is a critical critical manufacturer of chips that is critical to the U.S. and many other economies. So,
Hey, Bear.
In some sense, China's economic health powers their military, which is looks to be on a long-term collision course with our military. If you look at the kind of long trend, it doesn't look like it looks like Taiwan will be a potential flashpoint in the future.
To Wayne.
Is it fair to speculate that crashing the Chinese economy slows them down, and the war with Russia and Ukraine slowed Russia down? For whatever reason, we want to slow down their economies.
Yeah, I mean, it slows them down, but it slows us down too. So are we winning?
I've also heard that the money that was coming into China from America was giving them the ability to have such a large army, and by throttling that income, they have to shrink their military. I thought that was an interesting aspect.
Well, I don't know. That's all very speculative about how China would react to this. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, if this were just targeted at China, I might, and others might have a little more understanding of it. I might not agree, but I would at least have a little more respect for the need. But yeah, this idea of taking the trade deficit, which can be, and then just computing tariffs based on that. Well, that's just stupid, and it doesn't really target China.
I wonder if the PLA is well trained, well equipped.
They're probably good at flying drones.
Sure. It doesn't take much more these days. You're right about that.
Well, you never know, because they don't have an adventurous military policy, so we don't see them in the fight anywhere,
right.
Except in Tiananmen Square where they won that battle against unarmed students.
I literally just watched a documentary on Tiananmen Square last night and this morning. How the CCP narrative was changing, and then after Mao, there's a guy that was for the students, because basically in Mao's regime, from my understanding, if the students went to college, the CCP guaranteed them a job. And then when Mao shifted out and the next guy got in, which I can't remember his name, it was basically you're only getting a job if your dad is in the CCP or you have a network or know somebody. And the students started to cry out, and they were crying out for democracy and for fairness and all this and that. And the one guy in the CCP leadership was for them, and then the other guy wasn't, and they were split back and forth. And then it got to the point where the student protests grew and grew and grew to the point where there was like 1 million of them. And then they basically gave the soldiers the rights to do whatever was necessary to deal with these students. And, you know, when it was all said and done and all these students got shot, the CCP is saying that it was 200 American operatives that were killed, and then outside sources were saying that up to 20,000 students were killed. So interesting.
Yeah, that's just
Yeah.
straight lies.
Yeah.
And if you're in the country and you question the lies,
You
Get
just
on
disappear.
that's it.
Even like Tank Man, the famous tank guy,
Right.
Yeah.
they didn't kill him, but that no one ever saw him again. So
Right. Well, no one knew who he was.
Well, they did.
Honestly, I don't know what happened to him. Nobody even says that they knew who he was. We didn't I don't know that there's any video of the resolution of that. All I ever see is video of him standing in front of the column of tanks.
I
Yeah.
kind of thought he got run over.
Well, but no one had a video of that, so
Right.
nobody said
No,
anything. It's kind of
based on the
testament.
documentary, he wasn't killed. And it was also interesting is that when the soldiers first came to deal with all the students, they were all from Beijing, and they had family and friends, and they didn't want to go against their people. So he
Yeah.
brought in soldiers from all over China, and all of a sudden they didn't have that issue.
Locals were not working, so he brought in more
Right.
distant soldiers, which is interesting. You're not supposed to have that sort of bias, but generally your military isn't used against its own civilian population. So
Right. And I don't blame the soldiers for not wanting to kill their own people.
I would think in this country here, or at least I would hope that they would have some thoughts against that. In fact, I would say they definitely.
Yeah, I can't see. It would have to be a Black Rock mercenary group or something. I can't see American soldiers doing it.
Exactly.
And
Yeah, because
in
they'd be
America,
defying
they're going to have more resistance.
that, and they all are serving the Constitution. That's the thing.
Hmm.
So they'd be breaking that oath.
Yeah, it's we the people.
The soldiers, it's never to be used against its own population, I suppose, unless, I don't know. There's Incarnation. If you want to let him in, if you think that's him.
Is that you, Incarnation?
Hello.
It's him.
How's it going?
Hey guys, how's it going?
How long were you sitting back there?
Barely a minute or two.
Okay,
Wow, you
minutes,
guys are
yeah.
getting better.
because I didn't even see you. So
I'll be right back.
Any thoughts on anything, Incarnation, for what we were talking about?
Yeah, I think for the military thing, as much as we would like to think that soldiers take a moral stance on things, I think if the military changes its laws to essentially, I don't want to say force, but force soldiers to carry out orders, I don't really see what the Constitution has to do with it at the end of the day.
Even if it's lawful, though, the soldier would still have to have the will.
Right, but when you're putting economics on the line, not that soldiers get paid a lot of money, but when you put economics on the line, it matters. But also, when a soldier signs to become a soldier, they're making a commitment. And it's not a commitment that they can back away from without penalty.
Right. But at the same time, I believe an individual would be willing to go to the brig instead of carry out an order. It would have to, if they're asked to fire upon U.S. civilians, it would have to sit right with them. That U.S. civilian or group of civilians would have to be doing something so atrocious that they're willing to carry out that order. Otherwise, there's going to be too much conflict in the soldier's mind.
Right, but if the difference is that the soldier's going to get court-martialed and potentially sent to jail if he doesn't do it, where do you think he's going to hang his morals?
I can only say what I personally would decide.
Yeah,
our military take an oath to defend the Constitution and to follow orders. So what happens when those two conflict?
Right.
It's basically a conundrum that it cannot be resolved. You just have to search within your own heart as to what is the right thing to do, and do it.
I think ultimately you get a fracture of the military, right? You would get
Possibly.
factions of military who would defend the Constitution, and then the other faction who would defend the president or whoever, the king at that point. If you don't longer have a constitution, you essentially have a king.
There's also in our military, I don't know about yours, but there's a requirement that soldiers disobey illegal orders.
Yeah, but like,
but in practice, how is a soldier going to know what's illegal, right?
Right, because he's being told what's legal by his JAG.
Exactly.
Right? So, and if the JAGs are changing the laws to make reprehensible things legal, then what recourse does a soldier have apart from, leaning on the Constitution? But if the new military, doesn't care about the Constitution, then ultimately he has nothing to hang his virtue on.
It's basically to eliminate, I think what's called the Nuremberg defense. I was just following orders. When you do something like execute captives or to commit war crimes.
No, I mean, listen, I do think there's some level of personal responsibility. I think if there's enough dissenters, you can revolt and stand your ground. But I just don't know what, an infantryman who's getting paid $30,000 a year to go kill people or go to jail, you're giving him two bad choices. I think he'll ultimately pick the choice that won't land him in jail, and that would probably to kill somebody.
Yeah, potentially a lot of those guys are going to be 18, 19, 20 that aren't going to have the confidence to make the right decision yet. They're not even given the ability to drink alcohol yet. It's at a lot of their ages. So obviously we know their judgment is better than most, but still they're young. So
I would disagree with you. I would say that it would be the younger soldiers that would be more willing to follow directive than the older soldiers that would have more life experience and not be willing to do that.
That's what I was trying to say. The younger soldiers
are
going to have less of an ability to decipher or to understand what's right from wrong. All they've been taught is to follow orders, and they're free thinkers to a point, but they're young.
We have experienced this for real in the United States after World War II, after this prohibition against following illegal orders. The most famous incident is the My Lai massacre, but it's famous because it was publicized. I'm sure there were many instances that never saw the light of day.
I'm not familiar with it.
Well, the My Lai massacre happened during the Vietnam War. Some U.S. division, or I don't know, Smoke Steve, the organization level better. Some group of soldiers under the command of William Calley, a lieutenant, raided a Vietnamese village and massacred, hundreds of civilians, men, women, and children, non-combatants. They herded them into a ditch and shot them in cold blood, just like the Nazis would do. And how did that happen? How could that even have happened, right?
Yeah, if not for a helicopter, a gunship pilot, and it was a Huey with guns on it, and he lowered it down to near ground level and had his guys point the M60s at the soldiers and said, any one of them does any more of that, start shooting them, because he saw from the air that there was a humongous massacre going on. He put a stop to it, but the damage was already done. I guess there was some proof that there was some Viet Cong activity going on there.
I'm sure there was.
There were in most villages.
Yeah, I mean, these people live there. This is their homeland,
right?
They probably don't. That village probably didn't even know what communism was. They know who's. There's Vietnamese on one side and Americans on the other. They're not going to be for the Americans. But that doesn't mean that they're allowed to be executed in cold blood. But that the fact that occurred alone should tell you that this prohibition against illegal orders is either ignored or not understood, or it certainly was ineffective. And then what happened afterward was appalling. One man was convicted of a crime, and that was Lieutenant Calley. And he was, I think he served 5 years before he was pardoned by Nixon, maybe. And nobody else was, I don't think, even tried. None of the other participants were even tried.
Right.
So, and things like that happened during the Korean War, probably even worse. And certainly
What's the closest we got on U.S. soil of U.S. troops possibly having to deal with civilians? Like in my lifetime, I believe the Summer of Love is the only time I remember the National Guard even being put out to deal with riots.
Yeah, I mean, there was nothing comparable to the My Lai massacre. There was Kent State, but that was not a. It was more like a panic by the soldiers, the National Guard, than it was a cold-blooded murder.
So people died.
People died. Yes, soldiers fired into a crowd of unarmed people.
Yeah,
students.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, and 4 died. But there was. It's not like they rounded them up, put them into a ditch, surrounded them, and shot them. It was just like,
what was the judgment on the soldiers, or at the end of that, what happened?
I don't remember if there was any punishment meted out, because it was a huge crowd of students that became more raucous, and some of the soldiers panicked, and one of them thought they heard a gunshot or a loud noise and fired into the crowd, and the other soldiers, hearing the one soldier fire, just heard gunfire, and they were scared that they were being surrounded, and they fired. So,
yeah, some guy let off a cherry bomb, and that was the end of it.
Maybe right. It was probably poor job by the commanding officer at the scene, rather than much of anything, and poorly trained.
You're talking about Ohio State?
Kent State.
Kent State, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kent, Ohio, though. It is in Ohio.
What year? Sorry, what era?
67, 60.
70.
Well, it was in the 70s.
Early
So
70s.
this was also Vietnam.
The Vietnam War, yeah.
Okay. Is there anything in Canada that relates to the military doing something like that to the civilians up there in Carnation?
Sorry, what? Pardon me?
Is there an event in Canada and Canadian history where soldiers fired upon civilians?
I think so.
At least it's hard to remember.
We'll take that as a no.
Yeah, I like there might have been like some isolated conflicts in like maybe World War One.
Yeah, I mean, in the ancient, long ago.
Yeah, but like in terms of modern times, I'm sure there's been like some very small and isolated conflicts with their peacekeeping missions where probably some have overreached their trigger finger maybe a little bit, but nothing that was like on the level worthy of like dismantling entire brigades because of just outright nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened with Barrett here. I think Topple was wising off to somebody else, and Barrett thought he was
No. No. I invited him onto the stream, and he said he's got to get work done. So I don't think it's even related.
It's gonna go where you can find some adults. Okay, well, it was
It's not
nice
on
to
the
have.
internet. There's nowhere on the internet.
Well, take care, Barrett. Come back. Maybe
See you, buddy.
be more to your liking next time.
Probably doesn't like me.
More beef.
Maybe he doesn't like any of us.
Maybe he's a vegan.
Well, I know he doesn't like me.
Those
But
guys are assholes.
I
Yeah,
can't.
they are. Keep talking about
Vegan.
their diets.
Yeah, vegans are funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm lost. Like when I listen to us talk and then I go back to the chat, it's like I'm reading the fucking Dead Sea Scrolls. I have to go back and then I get lost with what you guys are saying. It's like you got to kind of either you
Yeah.
listen to one or you read the other.
I'm
It's
the
really
same
hard.
way. I can't. My brain cannot do two things at once, but lots of people can.
It depends. Like
trying to-
I'm more tired, so I can't do it tonight. I got to pick one or the other.
Yeah, I mean, I am too, man. It's a bizarre day at work, so
I
Did you
can
finish your? Or sorry, go ahead.
I should say I can multitask.
All
There
right,
you go.
it's you then. You just signed up for the job. Put your hats on. How'd your renovation go, or the sale of the complex you were working on? Is that okay to talk about that?
yeah, no, I mean, it's fine. It's dead. Sales are down and everything right now, so
It's
yeah,
just sitting.
no specifics, of course, but yeah, it's just sitting like tons of other units are
Okay.
everywhere. So, but
Okay.
it looks beautiful from my, touch.
Well done. Well
What's
done.
if you don't mind me asking, what's the driving factor and like the I guess the real estate slowdown, I guess.
Prices in New England, specifically Massachusetts, have gone through the roof, and 7.1 or so % mortgage interest rate right now. So, you're buying something that's overpriced, something that's worth say 400,000, you're paying 675, and if you would have bought it for 400,000, 7-8 years ago, you would have got 3.39 to 3.5 as a rate. Now you're paying 200 grand more or more than that, and you're paying 3% more in interest. So you add those two things together and you do some quick math, that could end up being $20,000 a year interest
But that
on
doesn't
top of the fucking payment, dude. And then property taxes, which are high as well. Yikes!
but like people still buy houses though. Like there must be a reason why like the market's flooded with houses rather than
it's not
know,
here.
uh,
It might be
it's like-
where you are.
no, I'm just saying like typically I'm just talking like from economic standpoint, like even if houses are expensive and interest rates are expensive, typically people still like in times where housing is there's a housing crisis, or at least they want us to believe there is, people are still buying houses, right? So like what's like it's typically not interest rates most of the time that's the driving factor for people not purchasing properties, at least
Well,
not at 5%.
I think what it comes down to around here is that the income of the average home buyer has gone up by quite a bit. So the home buyer family who used to make 125, 150 grand, combined income 10 years ago, now they're priced out. They're buying the absolute piece of shit. Whereas, 10 years ago, they could get a decent house.
Right.
Now that income is like a dink couple. You know what a dink is? DINK. Dual income, no kids.
No kids. Okay. Yeah.
Right. So they're making 100+ G's a year, no kids. They don't have to worry about the kid thing, and they're buying they're going from their $3,500 a month apartments to now they're paying their 700 grand a year for a house that used to be 450. So that is displaced a certain group of home buyers, but it's kind of replaced them with another group. So
Right.
you just got to make more money, and it's almost incentive not to have kids. Sadly, kids are expensive.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, it's tough. Kids are expensive. I mean, listen, for me as a single dad, I've sacrificed my retirement. Right. Had I not got divorced and had I stuck things through with my kid's mom, well, in all likelihood, I would have a nice retirement. But I can't have a nice retirement right now because my income is mostly spent to housing and taking care of my kid and all that stuff. But that's sacrifice you make as a single parent. But it's still doable. Like I still live in the city, and I still live in an expensive part of the city. It's not like I live in a cheap part of town. But I guess I don't have a single family home. I guess that's with the core difference. I guess.
Right. So you pay rent in an apartment.
Yeah, I pay $2,000 a month in rent.
It's a tough hit. 24 grand a year. It adds up quick.
The housing market does not shift and react as smoothly as like the vegetable market. So when interest rates go up, when economic certainty increases, when employment goes up, those things can all make a sudden clobber of the housing market, and it takes longer for it to react and reach normalization or equilibrium again.
Cup of tea. Sacrificing your retirement in the sense that I can't really save money for retirement, and when retirement comes and I can no longer work, the money that I can't save today will make me poor when I'm retired. So,
or you just have to keep working.
Or you just have to keep working, yeah. But effectively, sacrificing my retirement doesn't make me poor today, but it will make me poor come my retirement.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, but listen, small price to pay. And if I do a half decent job as a father, maybe she'll want to I don't know, drag me around or build me a fucking tiny house in the back of her property somewhere or something stupid like that.
Right. You won't know until the time comes, but you at least have the possibility that your offspring will help provide in life.
Yeah, of course. Or I also have the opportunity. When she gets a little bit older, to go and reignite a career. It's not like she's 7. She's gonna be 8 years old this year. So I've got another 5-6 years of hard parenting. But then once she gets a little bit older and she's a little bit more self-sustaining, I can obviously reignite a more time-intensive career and rebuild my retirement. That's also a possibility. Right?
For sure.
You got Steve and Dance. You guys are both farther along with children. Is there a age where you felt like you weren't pushing against so hard, or the child was no longer a complicated, stressful puzzle, but it was more of not so much stress and more of just a relationship? Like, what age is that?
I mean, when they left high school, that was when it was for me.
Okay.
In some sense, there may come a time, if you're lucky, when they just don't want you micromanaging their life.
Well, that's guaranteed.
But it was, basically when they graduated high school, I was more of a supporter than a director.
Not just like micromanaging. They're like, "Hey, please stop breaking my stuff. Stop telling me what to do, Dad."
Do your homework. It's important that you do your homework because otherwise you won't do well in school. I can no longer say that once they graduate high school.
Yeah,
I could say that, but even I would know that would be a stupid thing to say.
Right. So, cup of tea. I'm gambling my retirement right now to be a good father, so that when I do get old, she wants to take care of me.
Yeah.
Right? My brother, as soon as he graduated high school, left to the United States. He lives fucking 18 hours away from my parents. Like, I'm the one who's got to take care of them. He's fucking long gone. So my kid might find her path in life and might take her, I don't know, fucking Japan for all I know, and she'll be across the world and away from me. So who knows? Man.
Well,
learn Tai Chi, brother. Learn Tai Chi.
Girls tend to stay closer to their parents than boys do. So
that is true. That is true.
That's interesting.
And listen, I'm certainly not going to prevent her from living her life too. Like, listen, motherfucker, I'll live in a shoebox when I'm old for all I care. But fuck, right?
Less to take care of.
I listen. So.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. Incarnation,
oh,
I asked a
yep.
question earlier, just unless we want to continue this subject, I was going to
You're
just
fine.
revisit something from earlier.
Sure, what's up?
Do you think there's going to be any like large scale shortages of food and things that we need to live, like mainly food, I guess, or maybe energy?
In definition of his country or our country or both or what?
Well, let's say in North America.
Well, Canada is far more susceptible to food shortages than the United States, just simply by virtue of our geography. Um, I would say that for food-wise, the United States, no. Like the United States is essentially the bread basket of the world. So I don't think there would ever be any food shortages in the U.S. But you could probably get some supply shortages that would make accessing your food or managing your food a little bit harder, which could make that stuff maybe a little bit more challenging, I guess. But food shortages, no, I wouldn't expect that from the U.S.
So you think like COVID level when you'd go to the supermarket and there'd be half full shelves, there would be still tons of food, but in the sense of an American supermarket when they're all stacked and there's people stuffing more goods up there, like do you think it'll be like that? Like noticeably, maybe half bare, half empty, but still plenty of food there, like to that level?
Yeah, again, like I really don't see
Where
no
did
shortage.
Where'd
I
that
really
come
don't.
from, Bob?
Yeah, I like. Here's where you might have some issues with food, and it might not necessarily be the food itself, but it could be the packaging. So, like, if the packaging is made in China, or like the peripheries for food delivery, or for food packaging, or for any of that is made in China, then yeah, you could start seeing some food shortages. But that you can manage that fairly quickly. You can get around that fairly quickly by localizing some level of manufacturing, irrespective of cost. Like that. So the point, like my point, I'm trying to say is that
Good
there
move.
isn't necessarily a shortage of food, but more rather a shortage of periphery to handle food stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I got to admit that during the COVID shortages, nothing bothered me more than the shortage of toilet paper.
Yeah.
I would have gladly gone hungry for a week, but to
Yeah.
be without toilet paper would have been unacceptable.
Oh, I agree.
I'm glad you survived.
But see, Smoke Steve, the problem with that and me saying that doesn't necessarily mean that food won't cost a lot more, though.
That's an interesting point. That in
Right.
and of itself would be prohibitive. Then it would be not a lack of the food, but financially, prohibitive to purchase what you want, which would be
Right.
problematic as well.
Right. Exactly. So.
Check your mic connection, Incarnation.
Oh, sorry. Is it better now?
I think so.
I think you touched it like
better?
me in the old days before I bought this wire, which I'm not going to touch because the shit
do
will
it.
happen.
Is it better? Is it better now?
Yeah, you're not crackling.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
fine.
Yeah. So I just think ultimately, like it's. There's ecosystems I think that people might be naive to, or maybe not naive, but ignorant to fully comprehending. Right, like there's whole entire ecosystems around industries that sustain an industry, and those ecosystems are very reliant on overseas goods, from China, Vietnam, those kind of places, and
Mhm.
that definitely has an effect. Like that will impact stuff for sure.
Yeah.
Right,
There's like
bring me my caviar. I'm sick of this peasant dish.
It's not
Yeah.
caviar, yeah, but yeah.
I love caviar, but think about it like yeah, do you want to should you have like a bunch of bags of dried beans, like shit like that, like stuff, shelf stable dried beans, canned goods,
Yeah.
whatever other.
We've moved
Spam.
into freeze drying as well.
I mean, I think it's good practice. But again, like I like as a Canadian, like it's not a problem anymore. But like growing up on a farm and around farms, like for us, seasonal foods was a big deal,
Yeah,
Right.
right? Like
farmers market, man.
yeah, like seasonal foods was a big deal. Like when strawberry seasons came, you went out and you did your strawberry collecting, and it was a weekend thing, and the kids went out and you had all the fucking kids doing all the strawberries, and then the raspberries came out, and then you do your raspberries, and then the late summer, fall comes around, and then it's blueberries, and then for each of those seasons, you're doing preserves, you're doing pies, you're doing all these things that you can store long term in a cold room, right? So that when winter comes, you have sugar. Now you're like, well, sugar, no, but the sugar is like a boost of energy that we in modern days don't really comprehend just how amazing it is when you're, dead of winter and you're like, I need something with taste because all you've been
Right.
eating are root vegetables like fucking potatoes and beets and like
Right.
these things, right?
I mean, where do you think ketchup came from?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
really just a way of preserving tomatoes to, to be year round instead of just, having tomatoes,
For that bland ass potato.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't, it's not going to be a fresh tomato. And how do
It
you
really
preserve
is.
it? You preserve it with vinegar.
Freeze
And how do you
dry,
make
baby.
it? How do you make it taste, remotely like it did when it was fresh? When you pack it full of sugar.
Pickles,
do-
like pickles is amazing. Pickles is exactly what that is, right?
Yeah,
You're
right.
you're swapping the water in the pickle for brine, and brine, because it has little to no oxygen in it, doesn't like kill your food,
Right.
right?
I,
Like
I
it
do
is.
have to. I just want to share quickly. Freeze dried tomatoes from the garden. When you make tomato soup or whatever out of them, they taste just like you used fresh tomatoes. We were
Oh.
extremely surprised at the quality of it.
Really?
But getting them to, even in Mylar packages or whatever and cans, and with desiccant in it, after about a year, it still somehow is pulling moisture. So it
Huh.
does. We haven't figured out long-term storage, but the quality of the taste is unreal.
Hey, RW, have you crossed the line of the fancy sun-dried tomato?
I have not tried to create sun-dried tomatoes, but they are
Yes,
delicious.
salt. Yes, cup of tea, salt. Salt's another big one for meat.
Yep.
This is why, like, when conversations like matriarchs come up, sometimes like I take a little bit of offense because like the matriarchs that I know and the role of a matriarch that I grew up seeing isn't a trad wife. Like they want to portray it. Like this is a woman who worked just as hard as the man. Her role was completely different. Her role was keeping the family alive.
Right. It's,
Right.
it's critical.
Right, it's
Right.
critical. Like preserving food was such a critical component, and the role of a matriarch, and at least for me, that's growing up. Like that was part of the role of a matriarch. That was preserved. Like it was such an important role in the family unit. So like the idea now you're looking at like trad wives, like oh, staying at home and like oh, cleaning the house is my responsibility. Well, yeah, a little bit more than that, like. But I get there's less of a need to do it now. But when I see what my grandmother did and what my aunts, my great aunts did, and how they maintain a property, like yeah, it was certainly a very important role and very hard work.
The trad wife is sort of cosplaying the farm wife of old, right?
Oh yeah.
Who actually, didn't have a choice. There wasn't like you could, oh, today we're going to, just go buy canned tomatoes or something. Like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. It's like and you know what, like in an essence that also made the food better, right? Because when you would I always remember this, like it doesn't sound like a big deal, but and I didn't experience as much as obviously my grandparents did, but cracking a homemade jam in the middle of winter was like such a great feeling. It was like,
Yeah.
and it was a tradition too. I remember like we would go to the wood burn because we had a wood burning cook stove that had all the rings that you would open up to to change how much you wanted to burn. So we would cook our bread right on top of the wood stove, and there's a different taste to the bread when you're cooking it on top of the wood cook stove, and there's just this nostalgic thing for me of wood stove bread with homemade jam on it. And I like to mix the blueberry jam and the raspberry jam together. That was always my favorite. I just mix the two together and just like I don't know. And that for me is such a great memory, and it's just so basic and awful for you. But God, was it ever fucking great?
I don't think I've ever had homemade jelly or jam.
It's phenomenal.
Literally, meaning I've never made it or my mom never made it.
The convenience of being able to buy goods like the canned goods you're talking about versus having to can your own. I know that it's convenient if you have wealth to buy these things and store them away and not spend your time doing it yourself. But when you know the quality difference and the taste, if you have the time to do these things yourself, I believe it's worth creating them and having them, because the experience later on in life, like Incarnation is saying nostalgically, is a better experience.
Can you can meat though?
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Have you tried it, R-dubs?
My family doesn't eat enough meat to do that, but we do. Me and my brother-in-law will do jerky.
Jerky's the easy way. That's not canned.
No,
That's
that's not
just
canned. We used to can ham. So we used to a long time ago. We used to can ham. And it would be in the
you
fall.
can buy a canned ham, but you would buy what, like raw pork, and then smoke it and can it?
No, my grandfather would butcher the pig himself, and then
they went wee all the way home.
From some of the less desirable meats, he would then process it and basically create canned ham. And basically, the canned ham is really just basic. It's pretty much just water and salt.
You put some of that pink salt in too, right? That's the nitrate shit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's the easiest way to describe it. It basically comes down to water and salt. But you can use, like, what my grandfather used to do is he used to saturate the fat. He would separate sort of the fat out of like the sort of the pig juices, and then he would use that as his preserve to put in his can. Because he always said,
yet, Last Dance?
That's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. Like, honestly, like seeing him process that, like honestly, like not appreciate canned ham. Like, I fucking hate canned ham because of it. But listen, it is what it is.
Exactly.
I'm not going to judge people for their survival tactics. That's for sure.
I mean, is it still homemade if I buy the fruit and then make the jam?
Yes.
Yes. If you can get a good fruit, it's still good.
Yes.
But if it's not as good as what you pick off the tree, like the peaches that we make here or that we grow here, when we make jam out of that, or we freeze dry it, it's so good.
Peach jam?
But like if you go to the raspberry patch and pick your own raspberries and then make your own jam, like that's just as good. But if you go to the raspberry patch and pick a pre-picked bag of raspberries and make your own jam with it, that's also just as good. Like you're good there.
Right, but if you're going to the grocery store and buying Driscoll's, you have a raspberry shaped fruit that has not the same taste.
Yeah, I personally wouldn't, and it's also extremely expensive, so I personally wouldn't make jam out of store-bought fruit, but that's not the purpose either.
Okay, I'm interested in trying the jam because I don't like to eat things that I don't make myself. So,
well, you're the Mideast, you're like East Coast Mideast, so you have seasonal crops, don't you?
You would have strawberries
northeast up here.
Northeast, yeah. Okay, so you've got seasonal crops. So whenever your strawberry or raspberry season comes around, like just go to your local whatever and grab a basket of strawberries. And the process, like I haven't made it in a really long time. I used to make it as a kid with my grandparents, but it's a pretty simple process. It's basically just a shit ton of sugar and some jelly.
What's that ingredient? Pectin?
Yeah.
Pectin, right?
Pectin, yeah, and sugar.
You don't have to use pectin
no.
Always. I would just look into the different ones.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it sounds fun. And my kid loves making stuff, so it's a nice project,
Yeah, I totally.
Every time we'll get fruit, she'll be like, let's make more jam. Okay.
Or fruit leather.
Fruit leather. Wow. You make that?
I haven't personally. I believe someone here did before we got the freeze dryer. Yes, out of I don't even remember. I didn't really like it. I wasn't a fan, but it does last a long time.
Well, making your own pasta sauce is cool. I've always wanted to try that. Or make.
You haven't made your own pasta sauce?
My
goodness!
My girlfriend makes a ridiculous pasta sauce. It's insane.
I swear
to God, her trick, like literally the only thing that she does differently than most people I've ever seen, is that she'll baste onions in the bottom, so that the onions give it a sweetness to the sauce to like pull away the acidity, and then after that, basically just standard sauce, but basting onions in the bottom and letting the onions like kind of juice themselves in giving off that sugar sweetness that onions have.
Sounds good. I usually just use a good quality honey to offset.
Oh yeah, I did make it once. I forgot.
Well, you should you should try RW just to throw some onions in the bottom and like let the onions baste for 10 minutes till they get nice and soft and juicy, and then after that throw your the rest of your mix in there.
Right. I usually do that with eggplant.
None of that for me, bro.
No eggplant. Wow. Okay.
I hate it. It's too weird. I had it once in my life that I liked it. Every other time, slimy.
No, if it's slimy, it's not a great experience. But for me, if it's used correctly, whether it's Parmesan or whatever, it's absorbing all the flavor. It's like a mushroom, sort of. It absorbs the flavor of what you're creating, and then gives you that blast of flavor when you eat it. But if it's slimy, then that's a different experience.
That I can't stand, and the one I hate the most is Brussels sprouts. The next one, number 2, is okra. And
okra's too slimy, bro.
If you freeze dry it, though, it's not slimy when you use it, and it tastes like it's fresh. Just a little trick.
I can eat okra and I can eat eggplant, but I cannot eat Brussels sprouts.
They're very hard to make well. I'll give you that.
I'm with you on that, Last Dance, and I don't know if you've ever ventured into the ethnic stores or whatever, but stay away from bok chow because my lord, is that a disgusting vegetable?
I love bok chow.
I was going to say that's like a stir fry.
That's the Chinese cabbage, right?
Yeah. So like you got Brussels sprouts, bok choy, and then cabbage. You know what I'm saying? So they're all the same. They're all the friggin' same.
I can't say because the Brussels sprouts is extremely flavorful little morsel, and it's very hard to cook that taste out of it and have it be something else.
I think if you cut them in half, hit them with some decent olive oil, sea salt, roast them for like 40 minutes so they get a little tinge of like brown and black on them. And then you just pop those babies down and open the windows because it's gonna be stinky up in that house.
My girls keep telling me, "Oh, you just haven't eaten them the way they should be." And then I'll go to a place and they'll say, "Hey, here they make these fried Brussels sprouts. They're just fantastic." And the smell will be terrible. I'll try it, and it'll just be horrible. Why can't you believe me? I'll tell them that I just don't like Brussels sprouts.
So you've done a complete 180 with your children. Now it's the children telling the parent, eat your Brussels sprouts. And you're
pretty much.
You're waving them off.
Eat the broccoli, but stop. Yeah, down south here, they cut them in half, like you said. They roast them, but they have a sweet raspberry vinaigrette type that they put on it, a glaze. And then they also have bacon they'll put on it, but I try not to have that. But when they roast it really hot and braise it in a pan and it comes out on a little iron skillet, they're really good because they don't taste like Brussels sprouts anymore. They taste like crunchy fat. But if it has even the slightest ounce of that really tangy Brussels sprout taste, I can't do it.
Oh, cool. We got Urban Roots. Wife is from China. Smokes. Cool. And we had There Are Four Lights also in China. Hi, There Are Four Lights. Good to see you, buddy. Swanky Hotel in Shenyang, capital of Liaoning. I think the L is silent, right? So it's Liaoning, like Yale. It's May holiday here, and he passed the eggplant right on. Isn't there a Chinese eggplant?
Probably.
Yeah, the skinny long ones. Right.
Sounds right.
Take it easy, just Steve-o.
Get the joke.
Oh, later, Steve. My chat was frozen. I didn't realize that anything was being said.
Skinny short ones would have been better. In the countryside between Bloomington and Peoria.
Sounds fancy.
Peoria does sound fancy, but isn't it a piece of crap?
Yeah, I mean it's there's no, I went to school for a while at the University of Illinois in Champaign, Urbana, and
That sounds fancy too.
It's nothing fancy there. It's basically very much unfancy.
Do they at least grow grapes there?
No, they don't. It's spelled differently.
Okay.
And also, I want to say that's where Wayne's World was like the story was Peoria. I feel like it was like,
Could be.
do you remember the movie Wayne's World? I think they were in Peoria filming their show Wayne's World on like Peoria public access television or whatever.
Wait,
You have
are
way
you
better memory than I do.
Are you talking about Mike Myers' Wayne's World?
Yeah, Mike Myers and Dana Carvey,
Yeah.
old school. And what was the Asian actress's name? I know her name, but bonus points. Anybody?
Tia something there.
He's got the first one. The last name is the name of it. It's a lot.
It's a French
a-
name. Carrière, Carrière,
Close.
Carrière, something. I don't know. I can't
No,
remember.
no, he's
I was-
close. It's actually the name of a line of Porsches, 2-door Porsches.
No, I don't know.
Cayenne?
You're close. Carrera.
Carrera. That's what he said, I think.
He said Carrera.
Okay. Carrera.
Uh,
Well, we got to give him half credit for Carrera.
No, this is like Jeopardy, right or wrong. There you go, wife. She was all right, Tia Carrera. Not bad. Good stuff. Wayne's World.
I see you're a fan of Nantry Mace, Last Dance.
Oh, and by the way, it's Aurora.
Aurora, Illinois. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You're right. I thought it was Peoria, but Aurora. And thank you, Urban Roots. What is Last Dance a fan of?
A lady named Nantry Mace. I'm not familiar with her. She looks in the political realm somehow.
It's somebody, it's one of these doctored photographs of like Nancy Mace's face merged with some other face. I don't know. I thought it might have been Anna Navarro's face, but whatever it was horrible.
Anna Navarro from Just Turks? Or the Turks, the Young Turks?
No, that's a different Anna.
Okay.
Anna Navarro is like a former Republican who's one of these.
Right.
She's on The View.
Okay, yeah. I was thinking of Anna Gasparian. My bad.
Gasparian, yep.
There's a lurker in the background here. I don't know if you can see him.
Not really. Is that? Hey.
Oh,
it's-
yeah.
It's a her. Not. I ain't know him. What's up, Sarita?
So
His
we,
cut-
Just eating again.
it's
Every
acceptable.
time.
It's roasted garlic and what else?
Mushroom.
Mushroom, spinach,
Mm-hmm. And I think a
Sounds good.
garlic oil on top.
and a garlic or a what's the
Very
other
nice.
the mushroom in the ground truffle.
Truffle oil, that's what it is
Very
actually.
nice. Very nice.
Mm.
She's kicking.
That's a cute fabric pattern. I don't know what that is, but it's funky. I really like it.
He got it
What-
for me.
It's nice job, dude.
Yeah.
He did good.
I was like, I like the orange. It's pretty. Let's put pretty and pretty together and go out somewhere.
Do you sport your finest T-shirt, RW?
She bought it for me.
Oh, very nice.
Hey, Shoal. Hey, Shoal.
Hey, K Shell, what up, dog?
Is Goon done with his session, Shoal?
I missed him tonight. It was a busy day and evening.
I listened. I didn't do any requests. I just listened in.
I'd like to.
Damn, Rod.
He's the man. Well, I think I'll whip up a drink and we'll conjure up some new subjects. What do you say?
Sounds good.
Start conjuring.
Okay.
And also conjure up motherfucking Aphid Lip and Philly Boy.
all right.
Okay.
Well,
All right. Thank you.
I mean, has it been a slow week for politics? It seems like it. Eh?
I mean, in terms of like new stuff, yeah, I think so. It's like kind of like the same outrages all over, every week after week. So,
I mean, for us, I guess there's the newly elected prime minister up here, which is for me
Yeah,
a
for
good.
you, that's a big deal.
Anything different now that he's sitting in the chair?
Well, I guess he has to form a government, right? It's a little.
Yeah. So now the next steps of the democratic process starts. He has to also get basically anointed, if you will, by the governor general, because as much as Canada likes to claim it's independent, it still has some connections to the crown.
Some vestiges of monarchy.
Yeah,
I saw the king and queen came when he got in.
But I'll say this: I'm not a doom and gloom conservative, and I'm a very like from an individual standpoint, I'm a very hardened liberal, and I like to stand on those values. So for me, it's definitely a win. I would say, on the grand scheme of things, it's refreshing to have somebody with a high level of education and a high level of experience, and I'm not talking like experience running small businesses. I'm talking about high level experience in a high level position. And I think for me that's a big deal, man. Like it's a big deal. Like, I mean, it's not a small resume that he has, and I think it's, to me, that's very important.
I hear that Jinx lost a bet with you.
He did, yeah.
That's awesome. We were talking shit. Yeah, I'm just curious to see like what kind of change that brings for you guys up there. I didn't realize that after the election, it's a very different process for setting up the government. So, like, how long until you have a complete and running new government?
Well, two things. So right now, he's got a cabinet, but he's got to kind of like officiate his cabinet. His cabinet has to get approved by the governor general, and then once all of that has basically been done, our government has been prorogued since basically January, which means that we haven't had any parliamentary sittings. So, no, like Congress, our equivalent of Congress, the House of Commons, has been empty since January.
There's a backlog.
So now they've got a recall government, and then once government gets recalled, then we can start seeing how the politics are going to start playing out.
Are you
Given that,
backlogged though since January? Do you have agendas that you got to go through since January that are just sitting there waiting?
well, I mean, there's a new mandate now, right? So the with the new government, like, as much as people want to say it's the same government, it's really not. Carney is a new prime minister. He's got a new mandate, so he's got to start implementing his mandate. His mandate's different. Like, one of the biggest changes you're going to see right away is immigration. Like, they're going to start attacking immigration right away. They're going to cut back on immigration quite substantially, and it's one of the first things they're going to start on.
Where's most of your immigration coming from?
I don't know. I think it's coming from a variety of places. I'd say a lot of it's like Indian, or like it's in the Indian like Muslim Arab area, like in that sort of circle. Like, draw a big circle in terms of like India, Pakistan, and like that part of Asia, and you'll pretty much kind of hit.
What is the reasoning that he wants to slow that?
Well, it's obviously pretty much at this point acknowledged that part of the housing crisis that we have in Canada is caused by that. Also, by people, obviously. There's also the reality that our employment rates means that you don't necessarily need the foreign labor as much. So there's no reason for the government to keep basically filling positions with foreign labor when your population is sitting at 6% and above unemployment rates in certain areas. So fundamentally, you've got to you gotta change that up. So that's one of the first things they're going to address.
I would expect a major rework of the financial situation and economic standards based on the merit and experience that Carney has on his track record.
Right, and that's another reason why I think him being elected timing is very good, because he has he has the pizzazz to be able to navigate complex economic situations like we're dealing with right now, and the opportunity is fairly amazing because Trump is basically upending the financial market, right? So it's a great opportunity to kind of rework your financial structure.
Right. If he can play poker better, then Trump will have to deal with that.
Well, of course he can play poker better because he understands the policy better because he's one educated in economics, but not in politics. That's his downfall. He's got to work on the politics side of things, but he's
Yeah, that sounds
educated.
familiar.
He's educated in the economic side of things, and he's tenured in both the Bank of Canada as a governor and the Bank of England as a governor. So, like, he's got he's got he's got he's got enough on his resume to say, "Hey, I think I'm confident in having him navigate this."
Yeah, I look forward to see what happens. I'm just curious to see how long it takes. I would hope that before the end of the summer, there's where people sitting at a table figuring out what's going to happen, not a dragged
Oh.
out.
Well, first of all, nothing's really gonna move till September.
Why?
'Cause government shuts down typically in the summer, or it gets really slowed down. And again, Canada takes its summers very seriously because we have fucking snow 6 months of the year, so government proceedings slow down in the summer. So nothing's really going to move until September.
Okay, that's interesting. I feel like I don't know. Doesn't it seem like a good idea to not shut down at this point in time?
Well, oh shit, somebody's falling doing the wave. Oh, I see it now.
What is it?
Somebody's falling off the Yeah,
Oh,
somebody's falling. If you look on the
I've
blue
seen
banner,
this.
look on the blue banner.
I've
Somebody's
seen
like
this.
gets up and falls off. I don't get it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's actually a jerky video. Let me get a better one.
You're playing a video or randomly out of nowhere?
Yeah.
Wow, look at you.
What I do?
All right.
Oh, that's so fucking brutal, dude.
Yeah, he lands on his head. Front
So-
flip.
He lands on his neck and like his head's to
It's
the
a fr-
side.
It's a front 1.5. There's his flip and then right
Oh.
onto his head.
And they said, and so he's alive. If it said he was alive, he gave him 9.7. Oh
He's
my
fighting
God.
for his life, is what
I think he stands up and just falls forward.
Yeah.
His balance is way off when he rises up to his feet and he literally tumbles forward.
What's interesting is that these fans on the rows above him don't even realize what's happened. They don't even realize the people down in this area here, they see him falling in front of their eyes and they're like, oh, what the hell was that?
Topple's saying this is gonna get flagged.
Why? All right.
Are you serious, Topple, or is that just a comment?
Apple's
It's
always
from you-
serious and never serious.
Nah, you can show entries on YouTube. You just can't show like grotesque or blood or like deaths.
Yeah, that one's fine. I'm sure we could find it on YouTube.
Listen, I watch plenty
yeah.
of kids falling off on bikes on YouTube because God, do I enjoy watching kids
It's
falling
the
off
exact
bikes.
same thing as falling off a bike and skinning your knee.
It's
So
not
there was
hilarious.
some question as to whether this was intentional or an accident or was he drunk?
It was
not
intentional. That
It looks so weird.
Can you be
Doesn't
to
look intentional.
throw yourself
just-
off of?
Well, is
I
it
don't
just me?
know.
But like the movement seems like so odd. It almost feels like he jumped up and like fell over. I guess.
Yeah, I
but-
think he stood up. It's a classic. Like if you're you're at a table, something's going down, and you're shit faced, and you stand up and immediately start
Yeah.
falling forward, and everyone's laughing at you. Like, dude,
Yeah.
relax. This happened to this guy, but he was fucking one row from the bar,
Well-
and the bar looks like it hit him in the mid
right, yeah.
quadricep,
The waist,
Yeah.
basically.
Well, you
like
know,
below the waist. Like his upper
Well,
Yeah,
body
you
was
putting up screens.
his
now,
weight
right?
was, but the momentum was carried him over. That's
you know those times. You know those times where you're having such a good time, you don't even see time pass by, and like next thing you know, you look down, you got 5 tall cans on the ground. You're like, whew. And then you get up, and then not only does you get the rush of alcohol, but you also get a head rush because you've been sitting down for long enough to drink 6 beers. Like, let's not kid ourselves. And then, next thing you know, you like half pass out and you're over the ledge and smashing your fucking head on the ground, I guess.
essentially.
So what happened was he He jumped up to celebrate, and instead of jumping straight up, he just got a little bit of an angle. And because he's in the first row, that little bit of an angle was enough to put him in a bad
Right.
spot.
Any
Plus-
other place you might have stumbled and fallen,
Right.
you might have caught yourself, but there was nothing.
He
I had a
apparently
friend
it
that
was
almost went in front of a train doing that. It scared the shit out of me.
Oh yeah, gee.
Yeah.
Now, this brings into a question up here in the old state of Massachusetts. If somebody gets absolutely tanked in a bar and does something to harm themselves or somebody else, the bar is liable.
Huh,
Same.
of course.
Us, it extends to homeowners.
If this guy was shit-faced and he was served from the bar at the ballpark and got to that point,
Yeah. What if you keistered some shots or something? You
Uh,
don't know.
the
I've
Well,
done
ballpark,
it before. I ace bandaged the leader of Jack Daniels to my foot to get into a Patriots games with two girls
That's
on,
what I'm saying,
one
dude.
on each arm.
That's a
And
hard
when
one.
we got through security, the ace started coming off, and I was like, "Oh, my ankle!" And I'm like on the ground trying to wrap the bottle till we got to the seat.
As long as you stayed cool, you're a
We
hero.
got in. We got 4 Cokes, and we poured all the booze into all the Cokes, and that
that's
was it.
you know what, Smoke? That's what
American.
we got. I don't. You guys don't watch Canadian football here, but I watch. I like my old Canadian football, but the old Mickey. You guys don't have Mickeys. But see,
Yeah,
in
we
Canada,
did. The
do
40s.
you?
Yeah.
40s? No. So Mickeys here, we call them Mickeys. They're
Yeah,
basically
Mickey's Big Mouth.
they're basically a flask-sized bottle that you can buy at the liquor store, and it's got the curve, like the flask curve in it and everything, because it's meant to go right on your goddamn hip. And I tell you, the thing that's fun about Canadian football games is they tend to be in the fall and they tend to be when it's a little bit colder, so you can have a few layers on you, where even the security can pat you down, and it feels like it's just part of your body. And you get into the stadium, you crack out your Mickey, and either you start drinking it straight if you got some hair on your chest, or you dump it into a Coke bottle, like you say.
Yeah. So I only know Mickey's in the 40 size in America. I've never seen any other.
Yeah, here
Wait a minute,
Mickey's is beer.
Yeah, it is.
Or-
It's a malt
Malt
liquor,
liquor.
right?
Yeah. I think
Man,
Incarnation.
I can't.
you're
It's got to
talking
be
about-
ice cold, or it tastes like ass.
Yeah, Incarnation. Are you talking about?
I love the taste of ass.
Ah, you love 40, dude.
What's that? What's up?
Are you talking about the same Mickey's we are? The malt liquor?
Nah.
No, you're talking about hard alcohol.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I
funny.
am.
It goes by
Yes.
2 different names.
Can I post a picture? No, I can't post a picture.
Well, you
I
could
can
tell me
find
where to find it, or you
Uh,
could put a link in the back chat, and I could.
Yeah,
borrow it.
back chat link.
Canada.
Here, yeah. If
Yeah,
you just
I
do
looked up
right,
Mickey
Mickey, do
Canada.
Canadian Club Mickey, and it's basically a small curved bottle of liquor that looks like a flask.
A Mickey refers to a 375 bottle of alcohol. Is it a size?
Yeah, it's a smaller sized bottle.
You're muted, bro.
The booze inside is not determined. It's Mickey denotes the volume of the bottle.
Man,
Yes.
that's too damn.
I
complicated.
see. Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
not getting any hits that look like something with a curve.
Oh,
no.
You can't see it. Okay, give me a second here. Let me find
There's a couple bottles that were sold like that in America. I think they were mostly tequilas or something. I can't remember what was the liquor in them, but they were glass flasks. I prefer the bra flasks. They love patting me down, but they never find it.
Yeah, I think the Mickey's Big Mouths, I used to drink those on occasion just for fun. It's crap, dude. I don't even know why we bought them, but it's because it had a big opening. Wow,
think-
cool beers with a big opening. Let's chug these. Like
I think
literally.
I found it. Here it is.
Did they
Alright.
start the trend? Did Mickey start the trend for that big wide?
Mickey's Big Mouth. Oh, he's got it. Is that it?
Oh my god, that's
They
funny.
wouldn't pat you down for that bad boy. You could load that thing way up.
Was that not it?
That showed up in your search engine. Then the cogs turned, and you were like, "Oh, I'm going to use this as a ball bust."
Of
Right?
course, it seemed stupid, so I was naturally interested
Well
in it.
played. Well played. Well, good use. Who do we have? We got a boop.
Topple, maybe.
Topple, maybe. Let's add him in. If it's somebody else, we're screwed.
Yep.
It's
Topple, what's the meaning of life, dude? That's right. Oh, what?
women.
That's it.
Women.
That's definitely him.
That's Topple.
It wasn't. It
Anyways.
wasn't the correct answer, so I know it's
all
Topple.
this to say, it's the perfect like transport or the perfect like game day bottle where you just you throw it on your hip and it's just fucking fantastic. And you get a nice little buzz, but not too much of a buzz. It's very
You know what? Until you could show me a picture of it,
oh,
I'm going to say it's unconfirmed.
Yeah, it's hard to find. Mickey's Big Mouths comes up real quick, but not the
Yeah, our
size.
algorithm's American. Mickey pays the bill. So
did you do Mickey Canada or something?
yeah, that's what I did.
I
I
did
did.
Canadian Mickey curved bottle.
Here,
I did.
here.
Yeah.
Mickey's Canada alcohol.
Dude, that Mickey Mouse cup's going to show up in so many of your ads for the next week.
It's hard.
You're probably going to end up buying it.
But
Just to get it off my timeline.
Yeah, and you can put your monkey shoulder or whatever in it.
one question from Urban Roots that does deserve answering: Is Crown Royal Canadian or American? It's got to be
Canadian, 100% Canadian.
Yeah,
Crown.
because that's what Scum's drinking now
100%
because he
Canadian.
can't get beans.
Okay, can you see my screen here?
They'd have to bring the
I
screen
can
up that
see
you're
it.
presenting.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
I saw that image, but
Okay.
there's nothing.
Okay, I know you can't really see it, but you can see you can't
curved.
you can't really see the curve. It is curved. You see how the ball at the bottom is curved here?
The Earth is.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
I see what you mean.
I can
know-
believe it's curved. I can
Yeah.
believe it.
So it's curved, and on the other side, it's not curved, right? It's concave, right? So
One side's convex, one side's concave.
exactly resembling a
right.
flask. I don't know why there isn't a fucking half decent image of it anywhere. Like it's like the most Canadian thing ever, but whatever.
If you have
And
a
you know
decent
what?
enough beer belly, you can just
I
roll
think-
your beer belly over any shaped bottle, correct?
That's
I
true.
think traditional flasks have that curve.
Yes, they do. Like that's what I mean. So it's like a curve. It's like a flask-like curve to this little bottle here, and yeah, it's like a person. It's like a perfect personal like carry bottle that you could get right at the liquor store.
Sure. It's intended to, whether you hold it over a rib in a front pocket or over your hip, it's intended to be hidden, which is hilarious. Like, so some boozer at a formal event or a funeral or whatever Canadian football game can, but I'm talking even in the old days, they were invented to be stealthy, clearly for the purpose of taking a little, hit when you're in a place where it would be frowned upon. It's,
How do you secure it?
how do you what?
Lock
Secure
right-
it. Is it supposed to be in a pocket or?
Oh, you can put it in a pocket. It fits like if you're not worried about anybody seeing it, you can just literally slide it right into your back pocket and it fits perfectly.
So I'm talking breast, like a
Yep.
hidden inside pocket or
Coat pocket. Yep, coat pockets or yeah, anywhere. For me, like if you're wearing a belt, like just putting it on your hip and tightening your belt, it sits there perfectly.
Just use friction and
Yeah.
your hips to keep it in place.
Yeah, it's golden. I used to take it, Smoke Steve, like to your point. Like I used to take it skiing. I would always have a Mickey on me when I would go skiing
wow,
or snowboarding.
not me. I tried to stay sober. Well, of course, smoked tons of dope, but never
A little weed, a little alcohol on the chair going up. Never hurt anybody.
We'd wait for after to drink because we were doing some park stuff, and
Oh yeah.
we were already getting hurt sober, so no reason to get more hurt.
Yes, Smoke Steve's wife. If I go to the liquor store right now, there is not a single American alcohol available.
Available now. Smoke Steve will procure and ship any alcohol you want in Canada. Wait, is that illegal?
Yes,
It
very
might be.
very legal.
It might
Probably
be,
against Canada law.
and American if I'm tariff dodging.
Well, you could go to the duty free and pay an exorbitant amount at the duty free, but
You don't pay tariffs going out. You pay tariffs coming in. So
But you
Canada, But the tariffs.
Right, but if you can only buy your booze at the duty free on the American side. So as you're coming back into the country, you would purchase your booze, which would then get tariffed as soon as you cross the border.
Well,
Is
you
duty
get a bunch of
tax-
Aunt Jemima and dump it out and rinse it out, and then you put the Jim Beam and the Aunt Jemima bottles, and then you ship it up there.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll look really innocent at the border patrol whenever they bring you into the side room and they have you on camera pouring out the fucking shit. Yeah.
Well, if you're doing it at the border on camera, I'm not sure how to.
Well,
help
because
you.
a duty free store is like, you know,
No. I mean for
uh,
Steve's business.
for Steve's business. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know that I would risk it, Steve, but good luck in your ventures.
Well, I want to send a bottle to Scum sometime. I guess I could send a gift.
You could probably send him a bottle. I don't see why.
You could probably get China to drop one off on their weather balloons that they float.
No,
over
I don't.
Canada.
I don't think it would be a problem for you to send him a bottle as a gift. He just
what
can't.
kind of a world that you can't send your friend a bottle of Jim Beam?
I don't know if like
The world of governments.
from an
That's
import standpoint, I don't think it's an issue for you to send him a bottle. So that wouldn't really be an issue.
I bet it's a huge issue, but just do it and no one will care.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it on the internet for like 10 hours and then finally they'll care. And then I can't
I'll ship it. You can just say, I'll be like, he's retarded. He didn't know. And I'll be like, it's true. I'm retarded. I had no idea. I was just sending a gift to a friend.
Ixnay on the R word.
Oh, is that a no-no on
I'm
YouTube?
just kidding. I don't
Oh.
care.
I meant retired.
No,
That's
you were
close to
closer
the same,
with
right,
the
last
first
man?
one. You were closer with the first one because I'm far from retirement.
I am closer to the first one. That's true.
Wow. You piled on there at the end. Okay. Confidence at an all-time low. Okay, what do we got next? Art Stew, how
Yeah.
are you, buddy?
You can ship alcohol. You just can't use a postal service, but you would have to use a freight shipping service. So you could use like a DHS or
DHL.
a DHL, sorry, or whatever, a freight company.
Having a Homeland Security
yeah.
to get it to him. I like it.
Yeah, use DHL to avoid DHS, and then
Whatever.
maybe you'll have some FedEx, a touch of FedEx in there.
Yeah, you just wouldn't be able to send it like via USPS, I guess. That's the only rule. Otherwise, you're
Yeah.
fine. And you can't send like a fucking like a barrel of booze either. There, let's not kid ourselves.
In
What
the
do
old
you,
days, the weed guys used to always be like, and this is only, of course, from what I hear, it was
Right, right.
always, yo, send it UPS. That Federal Express has got federal in the name, bro. You can't use that because like they didn't really understand. So UPS was always the preferred shipping.
Like I prefer it gets there in the next couple days, not in the next couple weeks. But you do you.
Can we legally Scotch swap?
Oh my
Sure.
god! Honestly, like that's just a game of semantics at this point. Bourbon is Scotch. Scotch is bourbon. Let's not let's
Yeah,
not kid
really.
ourselves here.
It's whiskey.
Yeah, the only place in the world that I think has, there's only a few places in there in Europe that have that, domain of origin sort of thing, like
Champagne.
Yeah, champagne.
champagne. I think like Parmesan
Sauvignon.
Reggiano from Italy. And I think Scotch is one of them from Scotland. Those are the three main things that I
Yep.
can think of.
Do you think China follows those strict rules?
See,
No,
least-
I don't think they do.
You don't.
see,
I don't-
at least for us in Canada, we had the decency of naming our liquor after the wheat or the grain we used. So, rye. Like rye is an innately Canadian alcohol that you probably won't find most places in the U.S. And it's simply because we made it using rye grain.
They do use it here, but tends to be it's rye whiskey. Core Blonde has a great song, Rye Whiskey. It's really good.
Be right back.
Yeah, it's
But-
like same for us, but like rye whiskey is very popular here. Like I drink a rye. Like give me a rye and ginger. Like that's my Canadian.
Rye and ginger's a nice drink. You got to go 50-50 though.
Yeah. 50-50 in what?
No, I mean 50-50, 50% rye, 50% ginger. I don't want
Oh,
like a
Ginger
shot.
ale?
Yeah, ginger ale.
Okay.
So I typically keep my liquor in the freezer and my ginger ale borderline frozen so that I don't need to put ice in my cup.
Interesting.
I've never had rye whiskey. Maybe I'll make that my next whiskey buy.
Mm.
Now, you're a whiskey man, so it shouldn't bother you, but rye tends to be a little hotter, a little drier. It's kind of like a, oh, wow, that type of whiskey. It's not a smooth and, easy one. Rye
Well-
tends to be sharp, but I love rye.
Maybe I'll buy the smallest quantity I can get and see how I like it.
Yeah, I would say start with a smaller quantity. It's an acquired taste, but it's a fucking amazing. I love rye. It's my go-to.
It was popular in the Western shows.
Yeah.
Give me a bottle of rye. You take the cork off with his teeth and spit it out.
There's a fun little can cocktail. It's a little can that's like maybe 100 mLs. They call it Rock and Rye. It's made with rock candy and rye whiskey. And if you ever come across, grab a couple of those. Those things on the rocks are nice.
Yeah, and I agree. Urban, like the shitty smaller distillery ryes are never really good. Like a Canadian Club rye is fantastic. A Crown Royal rye is fantastic. Or an expensive connoisseur rye is fantastic. But the cheap, like small distillery ryes are god awful.
Those will
Or-
burn you.
Or if they try to make like I don't know, these weird flavored ryes, it's usually pretty awful.
Weird flavored anything never works. And here's a weird flavor. Speaking of weird flavors, what's up, buddy? How are you?
The good old boys are drinking whiskey and rye, singing "This will be the day that I die."
A little bit of Donnie McLean. Good to see you, man. How's life?
Good. How you guys all doing?
Gosh, it looks nice. Looks nice and full in that background, my man. Oh, so
have a-
good.
I have a question for you. So you've got PS2 games, PS3. Back. I'll put his screen back up.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
No, I don't have any GameCube actually.
Okay. So what's that at the bottom? Wii?
Yes,
Yeah,
there's
that's-
Wii.
Yeah. Okay. N64. I see some N64 on the top desk there.
I got some PS. There's some PSP in there.
What?
It's my. I don't know why this keeps doing it. It's a old iPhone that I'm charging. And I don't
It's
know why
gotta go, bro.
Oh,
So
the
no
charger.
one has-
The charger's going in and out. Probably is what it is.
I don't know why it's vibrating.
The connections are.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna just.
Just on. So what else you got? You got N64 up there too. Is that a Super
Yep.
Nintendo game too, or?
Yep.
Oh,
Right
all
there.
right. That's cool. What's your favorite? I don't. Have you played any of those games, or you just collect them?
Oh yeah. Well, I have a 15-year-old, so we play
okay.
every single night. Mostly two-player games. Mostly, I would say, PS2 original Xbox era. For some reason, that seems to be the sweet spot. I think because
baby.
I think because the graphics are, good enough where you're not like, oh wow, I'm a square. And then you don't have to like download and update every time you turn, so we can just pick it up and
Yes,
start playing.
amen, brother.
Hmm.
Fucking.
So
6
what was it
gigabyte
again?
download play.
PS2?
PS2, we do play some PS3 too, and then
PS2 was only one after the original like NES and PS1 system, right? Like the
No.
NES.
NES is 1980s, like mid 80s.
mid 80s, mid
Super
80s. What's
Nintendo.
PS2 like year wise?
1999, I think.
Oh, okay, so
Oh,
like,
2000.
PS2
Yeah.
was early to mid 2000s.
Yeah, I call it 2000, and the N64 is 96. The GameCube is 2001, right? So like the GameCube and PS2 are in the same generation. The N64 and the PS1 are in the same generation.
Geek
Pretty much
question.
so, yeah.
Do you have Champions of Norath or Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance?
Ooh.
I have both. I don't have either one of them on physical, but I have on my hard drive with everything on it.
Okay.
Art Stew's got a gamer question for you.
Oh yeah, that's what I was just saying. I have a hard drive that has pretty much every game from the inception of games up to, some PS2 games and some original Xbox games.
Do you have Altered Beast?
Oh yeah.
That's a hell of a game.
Pretty much the whole Sega collection. I have a Sega Genesis. I just don't have any games for it. Well, actually, it's a like a mini Sega Genesis. You can still put the physical cartridge in though.
Do you play Pokemon Red and Blue?
No.
Oh,
What was that game where you were like destroying? You were like a huge being, like destroying the cities. Whether you were like a wolf or
Rampage.
Rampage?
Rampage.
Yeah.
Yes. That one was killer, man. Loved that game.
Oh, hey, buddy.
Altered Beast was awesome. Rampage was awesome. Those were old school.
I like
Altered Beast, you
Rampage.
collect the balls, and then it finally Altered Beast. Yeah, I can go crazy. Love that shit, dude.
I don't remember that one. I
It
played
was
the hell out of Rampage, though.
Sega Genesis.
Battletoads.
You don't remember Altered Beast? It was epic.
I don't remember. Is that an NES one or something?
No, Sega Genesis.
Oh, I didn't have a Genesis. That's why.
I played it in the arcade, so
Well, yeah, they did have the arcade version of it.
it was super popular. Like the kids would all gather around it.
Oh, no. I'd say it looks familiar, but probably because was it an arcade fighter, or was it a platformer?
It was running left to right.
Yeah, side scrolling.
Okay, yeah, no, I definitely never played that one.
Like the old school.
Like Castlevania and
Castlevania.
that type of.
Castlevania was
Side-scrolling.
beatable, but like Contra and stuff, I'd never beat that game.
We've played some Contra, but yeah, it's tough.
Contra, yeah. I think the
Metroid.
background. It seemed like the background moved in Contra, and the guy actually never moved.
That's right.
The background just
that's the
scrolled
trick.
behind him. It was still a great game,
The
though.
Japanese anime style of movement.
Mhm. Still a good one.
What about Katamari?
Yeah, I got that.
Have you played it?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
1 and 2.
That's a brilliant game.
I think it's rather unique. Yeah, it's like one of the original brain rot games. Like there is no point but to roll around and get bigger and bigger, and then you start again.
And Last Dance, you're actually familiar with it?
I never was particularly interested in playing it, but I like to watch my daughter play it. It was just fascinating.
Was it like a role play game or just
Literally.
okay? I got
I
you.
mean, literally, you you create it's like a giant snowball you're building in concept, and but it's not snow you're collecting, it's stuff. And initially, you start out and you add like flowers to it,
Paper
The ball-
clips.
and the ball is small. But as you add stuff, the ball gets bigger, and at the end, you roll up bridges and airplanes and buildings and cities and the whole world eventually.
Eventually, the universe. Yeah, if you're fast enough.
Right.
Interesting. How about Metroid? Anybody? Metroid?
Oh hell
Yeah.
yeah, dude.
That was a good one. Another scroller, left to right, but good.
Yeah.
A lot of vertical stuff in that one, I think.
A lot of
Climbing it.
that's also when I started to enjoy the exploring the map more and getting secrets and stuff.
And those, like, I feel like that was the time when in games, and it happened in NES, like I remember Rygar, and there was some screens in like of the original Marios and some of them where there would be stuff that unless you knew to like jump to a certain place and then walk, then the screen would shift and you'd be in this like secret room,
Yep.
Yeah.
transport chamber or whatever it was. Like,
Yep.
I remember discovering that. I was like, holy shit.
I broke the game.
Nobody's it's like nobody's seen this before. You have to figure, like, everyone talked about it, so you got it from other people, but
Right.
certainly
Mario
The
One,
grand
you could, like,
concept
glitch
by
out.
the game designer is absolutely brilliant for putting those little things in, man.
Yeah, dude, definitely. You break the screen on Mario 1 and like have it so you can go so far and then you walk back and you can like jump up the wall because it's half standing on the brick, half standing on nothing, and you can like jump up and get on the ceiling and then run across the level.
That's right. At the end, you could jump and walk over to the normal green tube and go down it and then go to the next level. But there was this thing that goes up, it's like the little bars that keep going up. If you went
Mhm.
on it and jumped off at the absolute top, you could land on the top of the frame, run across, and then you were in this new room that had 3 new tubes in it.
That's
And
right.
it was like level 5 or level 6, 7, and 8. You could go from like level 4 to level 8, and level 8 was the final level right there. You never had to fucking even go through all the other levels. It was a warp zone, I think that's what they called it.
Yeah, and like the difference between Bowser on level 1 and Bowser on the last level, rather different. One shot
Yeah.
like 50 hammers out of its head and a bunch of fireballs, and the other one just randomly jumped up and down, and shot like one fireball.
Right.
Yeah.
One of them was like a stream of fireballs.
It was yes, it was a clusterfuck of hammers. Yes.
Yeah, I love those old days. Innocence, you know? Good shit, man.
Good times, man.
Let's check
I
out
think we
the
killed Topple. He's frozen.
No,
he's
he's
not
just-
frozen. He's just bored as hell.
Having any drinks tonight,
I
Topple?
don't know. No drinking. I'm a good boy now.
Oh,
You don't drink at all anymore?
No, I learned my lesson. Someone told me I was drunk, so I had to stop.
Are you a teetotaler? No?
No, I just don't. I got so much shit to do the next day that I don't have time to drink because I hate drinking and then feeling like shit the next day.
Yeah, I hear that.
I don't like my weekends are all I got to do shit around the house, and there's a lot of shit I got to do around the house. So
Right. So the
I
week,
had to
the
take down a
night,
shed, a deck today. I didn't even get
Nice.
my pool ready. I gotta get the landscape done. So
I did that last weekend. I got fucking poison ivy on my fingers this week because of all the shit I had to do last weekend.
dang. Is it cleared up yet?
No, like on just a little. I didn't get it too bad. Got some on the back of my arm here, and then on my two index fingers on both sides.
I've never had it. I don't think I'm susceptible to it.
oh,
Really?
we're so
No
lucky.
shit.
We're so
When I was a
lucky.
kid, I was. When I was a kid, I wasn't. But as an adult, and I don't get like some people have to like go to the fucking hospital and shit because they get it so bad.
Yeah, a buddy
There's-
of mine had
there's-
that issue.
plants that counteract it, like chickweed and stuff. If you crush it and put it on it, hold it, it'll suck out the oils and stuff and cancel it.
Well, usually I just go get
Right,
cleaned up
shower.
afterwards,
Yeah.
but I didn't realize I got into it this time.
Chickpea will also get rid of it, I hear, right? Don't they pee on it? Or is that like jellyfish?
No,
stings?
that's
No.
that's not the same. No. Different kind of advice.
Well, I mean, you could try it anyways.
If you have a good friend that I feel like I don't even need to respond. I'm just gonna not.
Give it a shot.
You just
So
pour it,
Steve-O's.
pee in a cup and pour it on you. You'll be fine.
That takes out the whole, intimacy of urinating on somebody.
Yeah, you gotta have somebody else to do it.
Yeah, it has to be the act of.
Right.
You're allowed to make eye contact while he or she does it.
I don't know. Luckily, I'm not susceptible to it. This is you guys' thing, so I wouldn't know.
He's backing away from the idea.
And this is not really my.
So Jason just visited, and he came up from Florida, and he was saying something pretty interesting, which I'm curious if anyone else here has seen. The Tesla truck, which I have never seen one in the wild here ever.
Oh
He
my
said that
god,
in Florida,
I've
it's
seen, like,
more
everywhere.
I
He
see
said
them
in
every
Florida,
day.
it's more common for the Tesla trucks to have wraps on them than to be clean.
That's close to the true here too. Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
I'm curious why people are against the brushed stainless steel. Like I thought the whole
I think it's because it's not individual.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Like they all look exactly the same. There's no different colors.
Like,
So
what
if
kind
you
of
want to
bass
stand
are you?
out,
Are you
huh?
seeing, like, just
It's
solid
foreign.
colors, or are you seeing like video?
No,
games
it's
or-
mostly just solid colors. Yeah,
okay.
and it's mostly matte black for the most part.
I've seen flat green, army green, matte black, like charcoal, but not the army green ones. In anything in that department definitely stood out. But
I
Yeah.
think they're pretty stupid looking.
do you really?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really do.
They're ugly ass trucks.
They're ugly.
They don't seem. I mean, like, I don't. Everyone here has like a Dodge Ram or a F-150. Like, they're all work trucks. Like the Tesla Cybertruck isn't even a work truck, right? Like, you can't
No.
work with
I
that.
don't know.
I mean, that's what it was built for.
They're
How
used
much
for
room are they gonna have?
advertisement for companies around me. Like you'll see a Tesla truck with an advertisement of their company, but all their trucks are like Ford F-50s and all of that.
Okay, yeah. I'd never like the Tesla truck doesn't even really have a bed or anything, right?
I think it does. I think it has a decent sized bed. Yeah,
It has a nice bed.
yeah.
Okay.
It's just got that stupid angled cover. If the cover went, instead of having that peak at the back, if the cover went straight back and then down, it would look a lot better. But also the hard angle of the front windshield. Then you have the back bed like this. It creates a stupid optic, but
Okay, yeah. So I've never seen the back open before. I'm looking at pictures now. That is a decent size.
it slides. It either slides one direction or the other to open. But like I said, if the thing just wasn't a perfect triangle, or I guess it might be obtuse. I don't really love that aspect of it, but I do like it. I like the concept. I just think some of the angles are fucked up.
Are people
especially
like
at the top.
are people vandalizing those as well, or is it just the Tesla?
Yeah.
Oh
Everything
yeah.
Tesla. Yeah.
Yeah, here in Massachusetts, big time.
Okay.
Yeah, like a lot of the Teslas I see have there'll be a swastika with like an anti-swastika sticker, and I guess that's supposed to get you off scot clean. Like I bought it before I knew he was
Yeah.
mad.
Or they'll also have a Elon in a circle with a line through it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
All
that's
right.
like
as long as you guys
please-
virtue signal correctly. What about like a Ukraine flag sticker? Does that work?
never seen it. Just
Yeah.
telling you the truth.
That's only on Last Dance's Twitter account.
Okay.
Long gone now. Long gone. Yeah, the old days.
Back
But,
when he had a heart.
Yeah,
Now he squashed it and sold it to the devil.
yeah. True
Any
that.
good benefits?
Not yet.
Okay. You gotta read the fine print,
Yeah.
or at least have Grok summarize it.
He can play the guitar real good now.
Nice.
There's a YouTuber that did the Tesla truck as a challenge against them Ford F-150.
Yeah.
The biggest thing was towing capacity. They broke off the what are called on it, the back end of it,
Tow hitch.
because how the frame is built on a Tesla is an aluminum frame, but how it's built, and that was a big issue that everyone was talking about.
Huh.
Yeah.
Have they fixed that issue?
Whistle, and
No.
diesel. They can't do that.
Yeah. Whistling Diesel.
Yeah, Whistle and Diesel or whatever the fuck it is.
They broke the frame just under
Yeah.
normal conditions.
Well, it was not normal conditions one bit. He was coming off a rock, and the back end slammed against it. Which, if it's a work truck, shit like that does happen. But is it realistically going to happen all the time? Never.
What kind of job are you working on where you're going off a ledge and smashing the?
Well, he was
the rock.
this guy. He buy this Whistling Diesel guy. He'll get like a Lamborghini or Ferrari, and he'll jump it like Dukes of Hazzard style over and over and over and over.
Challenges everything he gets because he has fuck you money. So, I don't know about that, but
Well, he
Like
has viewers that watch those videos enough where he can afford to buy it.
And there's
And
also-
I thought he was stupid, which I
No,
still
he-
kind of think he's stupid. But But he is like he's got his own beer company now, and he's obviously making money.
He's
Exactly.
Big enough, people will
very
give him
smart,
vehicles.
acting stupid.
Exactly.
I just think he's annoying.
Yes.
Like him himself, I just he just kind of rubs me the wrong way. But most people do.
I
I'll
think
put
these
a video
YouTube
on-
channels, they make a lot of money.
Oh yeah. Well, and not only off the YouTube, but they sell the merch, and that's when they really start
Yeah.
skyrocketing.
The merch.
Well, if you're
Merch.
saying he's buying Ferraris and Lamborghinis, those are in the $200,000 to $500,000
Yes, dude.
range.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I mean,
You
The
gotta
Ferrari
think
that
about
I
it.
honestly, I think this guy's got to have money beyond what he's making off of that video. To blow
No,
it.
'cause when he's been around for like probably 5 years, I'd say now that I noticed him. I don't know how long he's been around before then,
All
but
right,
he was like he lived in Indiana and he lived on a farm, and his videos he would have an old truck and he would put like wagon wheels on it, like. Then he ended up getting he got the souped up Charger thing. The Hellcat.
Yeah.
And he put the wagon wheels on that thing.
You mean like wooden wagon wheels?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
And he'll drive it around until it's totaled. And
That
that's
probably didn't take very long.
the shtick. Sometimes he'll have a car for 2 or 3 videos. Not very often though. A lot of times it'll be a $200,000 or $300,000 car, and he'll just destroy it in one video.
How many
Yeah,
followers
model-
does he have?
He's probably one of the as
He's
far as
got-
automotive, he's probably the biggest.
no, he's not, but he's got 9.6 million. So
Oh, wow.
he's
Oh,
Very
wow.
Just 9.6 left. Man.
And he
He's
does
like-
things to piss people off. Like Ferrari, he took a Model T and broke the shit out of that. Ferrari, Model T.
Model T. I was going
Or-
to say Model T Ferrari. What?
Not Model T Ferrari, the Ford.
The Model T Ford,
the first
The
one.
antique of which there's like 15 in the world left.
Yeah, he'll get something like that that's like rare and he doesn't care.
Now there's 14.
But what I'm saying is that's old by now. I mean, how many different times can he do it?
This
And he's got a real nice compound in Tennessee now, like really
Damn right he
nice.
does. His
And he
last
just
videos-
blows through. He like destroys his shit all the time.
That's exactly right.
Well, he's rebuilding the Killdozer too. So
Yeah, he is.
Well, his last 6 videos, he's got 8.5 million, 12 million, 11 million, 7.6, 14 million, and 12 million for 6 videos. Those are chronologically in order for his last 6.
How
Right.
much do you think he
Every
makes
one
up
for
$10
the
million?
last 6 before that, he's got
he has
between
2 different channels too now.
So I'm
Yeah,
talking
at
about his
least
one
2 different
his
channels.
main channel.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got one. The Cybertruck durability is a 31 million view
Yep.
video.
Yeah, that's the one that Topple's talking about.
It's insane.
He
This guy
breaks off the whole ass end of that thing.
I mean,
Yeah,
I've
this
been
guy's-
watching this channel called Matt's Off-Road Recovery.
Yes.
They have just under 1 million subscribers, and it's clear that it's changed. It's changed his outlook entirely. He's making tons of money from
Yeah.
YouTube alone.
Well, he
I
also
think-
sells the toe straps too.
He sells a lot of
That's a
stuff.
big thing.
Absolutely. He sells a lot of merch too, but his business, I don't think he's making any money from the towing. I think it's all from
Oh, no,
YouTube.
yeah.
Would that be considered tech? What category would that be considered?
That'd be automotive because it's a tow. He's
Yeah.
towing vehicles and he's upgrading trucks that he already has.
So there's some of those guys that don't change though.
And they they used to have huge followers. Now they just have the
They don't sell merch. They don't do advertising on their videos, and they still got a ton of subs.
there's a lot of gun tubers like that refuse to do the stupid stuff that the gun tubers do nowadays.
Right.
They just review a gun and that's what it is.
Yep.
So this calculator is saying that for every 1,000 views based on the other category, because there's no automotive category for some reason, 3.5 $3.50 per 1,000 views. So what is that for 10 million views? I don't know. Quick math, anyone?
You have the calculator open.
And the
That's not
seventh,
true, though. That's not true at all.
and the fourth.
I've looked up those YouTube numbers. That's completely untrue.
We got to go off sponsor, how much they're getting paid per sponsor.
Well, and some of them do a commercial on their video
Yeah.
too that they can charge whatever the hell. I mean, you got people watching those videos, numbers like Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? So they can probably charge, I don't know, $100,000 for an ad spot or more, maybe.
When
There
they
you
put
go.
the
Hey.
sponsors in the middle, it makes it harder to skip them unless you are pay for YouTube Premium like me. I can fast forward through their commercials, but
Yes, please.
Oh, I can. Everybody can. I can fast forward to it.
No, but
Use-
premium
click
has
the-
a skip
Not the
ahead.
commercials.
No, but premium has a skip ahead button where you can just basically press a button and it skips ahead the paid ad.
Well, mine skips forward like 15 seconds, so I just keep pushing that until
But not-
it's over.
Not the ads at the beginning. Like you can actually skip the in video ad that
No.
the YouTubers are saying. So
you're saying you
I
can
got
do
it.
that too, Aphid.
Yeah. When I'm watching a video, there's just a fast forward button.
And you don't have YouTube Premium?
no,
Uh-uh.
I don't mean fast forwarding through the video. Because you can do that too. What I mean is there's an actual skip ahead button where it'll skip the whole 15-20 second without you having to press fast forward is what I mean.
Yeah, but they're not gonna know the ad on some guy. Like if Smoke Steve stopped us all right now and was like, "This pub tonight's sponsored by,
Yeah.
Bud Light."
Yeah,
We're not gonna.
Yeah, premium knows it, and it allows you to skip ahead for that, like the ad read, because you have to understand YouTube Premium doesn't like ad reads that the YouTubers have, right? Because that directly bypasses their monetization.
Yep.
So YouTube is plenty willing to let premium subscribers skip ahead of the ad read, and they facilitate skipping ahead of the ad read actually.
Yeah, I've found that some of the YouTubers are doing it in a seamless thing in their shot, so it's not even like
Exactly. So
a
that the YouTube
commercial anymore. They're just chatting about this thing.
Exactly, and they do that so that the YouTube AI doesn't prompt the skip ahead for the premium subscribers.
Yeah.
So because a lot of YouTubers, like monetization on YouTube changed quite drastically when YouTube Premium came out, and a lot of YouTubers had big problems with YouTube Premium because that means that there was a tiered payout, and how videos are paid out on YouTube Premium is much bigger or much more substantial than on non-YouTube Premium. So it created this weird ecosystem where like YouTubers were trying to target YouTube Premiums, but then they were also trying to get their ad reads at the same time. And anyways, it was a weird time in YouTube Premium. But now you have a skip ahead button.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Anyways, yeah.
Anyone else have anything that they have been interested in lately?
I mean,
Slow week.
we talked
Slow
about
week.
Did you guys hear about that chick that slammed into that killing all those little kids in that thing in Illinois?
No,
yeah.
car crashing through the daycare.
They said today that she had a seizure of some sort.
Bullshit.
Lock her up.
Wait, what?
She said she had a seizure. I had a seizure. My
How old was the lady?
fifth of whiskey ran out and I seized up.
She drove through a whole cornfield before she
She
hit the
drove through a field, then apparently drove through one wall of the building,
Yeah, came out
and
the other.
ran over a bunch of people inside the building,
Mhm.
and finally all that stuff slowed her down enough that when she hit the other wall, it didn't go through and she stopped.
Yeah.
So was she allegedly drunk?
I figured she was drunk, but she was a I don't know. Was she a cooked food at a school, or she worked at a school, and I think she just left there.
Should
She
we ask Rock?
previously worked there, yeah.
I
No.
personally don't know if she was or was not intoxicated, and I have not heard.
Well,
Today
I
they
heard
said-
Elizabeth say it.
Today they said she had the cause was because of a medical situation, possibly a
diabetic?
seizure. I don't know. I didn't read it. I just saw the headline.
I didn't even hear about this. How
Coincidence.
many injuries were there?
She killed 4 little kids
Oh, okay. So there was 4 deaths. That sucks.
from age 4 to 18.
Mass killings aren't making much of a splash. There was one in Vancouver that
Canada.
hardly anybody heard of it.
Yeah, there wasn't. I guess because it was in Canada, and
Yep.
until they become our 51st state, we're just not interested.
Yeah, it's like
Is that where the guy from the Philippines like run down a bunch of people?
Yeah. The guy was yep.
Was that intentional?
Horrible. I feel so bad for those people that this happened like 2 days before the election, because all of those people that died lost their chance at being like fucking having any kind of remorse from people, because nobody gave a shit, because it was all about elections. It's really
Wait,
sad.
what?
How many people
because
died?
they were the media.
11.
They weren't.
11.
11 died.
11 people died because some guy ran a car in a fucking Filipino festival. Intentionally ran his car through a Filipino festival, killing 11 people. And,
But
like,
he looked Filipino.
he is Filipino. He was having severe mental health issues, and this kid's, I think his brother died, and then his mother committed suicide. So
Wow.
he was well known to cops. It's the same shit we always hear every single fucking time when this shit happens.
Yeah.
Right? Kid's got a lot of trauma. He's known to police. They knew blah 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 blah. Same shit all the time. Like it's so sad, man.
Sure damn is.
And then the really sad part about this is that those families who are grieving, like nobody knows that they're grieving, because at the end of the day, nobody gave a fuck. One, because they're Filipino, and as much as people don't want to say it, but nobody gives a shit about minorities. And 2, it happened right before a fucking election, so the focus wasn't on the tragedy. The focus was on the stupid elections.
See, where you're wrong is I judge my minorities one at a time, and Filipinos are cool. They make
On the
cut.
way to work,
I
I
like.
just point them out.
I judge my minorities.
What do you mean?
Which
I'm
ones
not
don't you
gonna-
care about?
I'm not gonna paint them all with a broad brush.
Oh, okay.
Filipinos are cool.
Well, which ones are low on your list?
Yeah.
I ain't saying nothing. None of them. I love them all. They're all the best, and namely Filipinos, because that's the subject at hand. After
Okay.
the-
I can't find. I'm still looking for the only thing I see is that she had a medical emergency. I haven't seen any aspect of
That
seizure.
sounds like a
or-
medical emergency. Going through a
It was
corn
today. It was
field?
today. It might still be because I don't even think I clicked on. Let me see. If it's
Like
still
if you're
on there.
drunk, through corn-
medical emergency.
No charges filed. Investigation ongoing.
Deport.
Yeah,
Or-
I just don't.
I don't know.
the border.
I'm not saying why.
Get
I'm
rid
just-
of her.
It's not on X. That must have
Reporter
been
to
on
Wisconsin, where that's more common.
Oh, here we go. Driver in crash that killed 4 had seizure of some type. Attorney says.
What
Mere
is
fact-
Attorney. That doesn't count.
That's
The
what.
The mere fact she wasn't charged on the spot tells you that she wasn't brought.
Yes.
Like she was at the hospital or something. Like she wasn't. They didn't charge her on the spot. They something happened, and they don't have anything to charge her with yet.
Well, she wasn't drunk.
Any
is what that-
vehicle crash that has anything to do with a death, you get your blood sample taken automatically.
Yeah.
No questions asked. So if there's anything in our system, they'll know.
Yeah, if that's from her attorney, then some degree of skepticism.
I just saw that she had a seizure. I didn't read the last part.
Was that a Google search? Where is that? It's not on X anywhere yet.
No, it's my local news.
It's just down the road from him, 100 miles.
Yeah, it wasn't very far.
Cars.
Hour and a half away.
Well, they banned assault weapons here in Massachusetts. So
That is wild, though, that I didn't hear about. I saw someone post that on Discord, the lady in the school, but I didn't research it after. But the Vancouver, I saw a little smidge about that, and then nothing else ever. I know I
Same
live in the
here.
U.S., but shit like that you would see, like when Russia, the guys went into the theater and killed all those people. That was all over the news for days. That's crazy.
Can I
when
give
they
you an
went
outside?
into the what? in
What's
Russia? The
The
heater?
theater in Moscow.
Yeah,
Theater, yeah. Yes, yeah. That was a big one.
that just happened north of us, and that doesn't. Oh, well, I didn't watch the news that much later on, but I didn't see it on social media as much. Should I say?
Can I be honest with you, Popple?
Go for it.
No lie.
And this is just an outsider's perspective. But I find that since I don't want to say Trump, but I would say since Elon has bought Twitter, but mostly since Elon like bought his way into the Trump campaign and like all the tech bros got into the Trump campaign, there's been like a massive shift in the kind of information that is being put out there.
Okay.
That's just my opinion, and
Censored, not censored, but more pushed towards a certain for certain people.
So Canada has fairly tight regulations in terms of the kind of the style of content that can be sort of produced, which is why Meta hates Canada,
Okay.
right? And part of the reason why Canada does that is because it's to combat propaganda. The U.S. has completely let go of all of those safeguards, all right? And it seems that Meta and X and these like Amazon, like not Amazon the company, but Amazon Web Services, seem to have like opened the floodgates to like unbridled levels of like just massive. I don't want to say propaganda, but misinformation style things, like weird AI videos that like are almost real but not, and that like anyways, it's really fucked up. But I've seen a clear shift in the style of media that's been coming out of the US.
I don't know what
Clear.
you're talking about.
You mean
Yeah,
it's
I know
one-sided,
because you're
or
in it,
just-
because you're in it, right? I'm not. You're in it, and I see the difference in this and the reason I noticed it Last Dance is because it wasn't like that before. It wasn't to the same degree before.
You're in it,
but
dude.
Are you saying like it's one side politically, or just all in
It's not.
general?
It's all in general. It's not even about a political side or anything. It's
Okay.
about like just like muddying the waters so bad that you don't actually know what the fuck's going on, and like you just I don't know. I've just seen it at a much more intense level. I think in the last few months for sure.
Topple's in it too. He would know.
What's that?
You're in
What's
it,
that?
dude.
You're in it.
I mean, what?
You're
The
in the
propaganda
Truman
machine?
Show.
That's why you can't see it, dude.
I don't
With
mean it in
them.
a bad way. I just see it. I've just seen such a clear shift in how shit comes out of
Well,
media.
I'm not gonna lie. Where I get most of my news now is social media because I don't have time to watch TV. My TV's never on unless it's sports, and it's not like I see it and believe it right away. It's one of those. All right, well, I'll see what comes out of it, and that's how I always do. Like right now, my social media is all about racism all of a sudden, and it's just like, what's
Yeah.
going on?
That's what I mean.
Everything.
You see it too. You see it
Everything.
too. There's been like this weird
Yeah.
shift where it's like the floodgates have opened and like there is no like there's nothing holding back like and I'm not even convinced, Topple, that it's real people being this overtly racist. I'm
Oh,
almost
no, no,
I'm
no.
almost convinced it's bots or like it's like this fake online presence that really isn't all that real.
Because it starts with the high school kids, the one kid that got killed and one kid allegedly they're making that a race topic, and I'm like, it wasn't. It's not. It shouldn't have nothing to do with race. But
Austin.
Yeah.
somebody.
social media, it's all
Yeah.
about race. And then you just had the white woman in Minnesota that called a kid at a park the N-word.
Yeah.
Now that has to do with race in a way, but it's just every 5 posts, there's 2 or 3 every time I stroll down, and it's like I don't care about this. It's not I don't care, but you know what I mean. It's like
What about the color of the shit on the front of that car that chick sprayed all over it?
Yeah, that was,
That was some gold shit there. Wow.
light colored. I was a little. I
think
don't
she
know
has-
what was going on there.
I think he has kidney issues. I really do.
There was a video.
Clearly diarrhea. I mean, what
Oh,
the
yeah.
hell?
Yeah, it was it would have just fell off if it wasn't
Have you
diarrhea.
have you ever gone to the zoo and seen the hippos?
Yeah,
Why
they
don't
get
you
the
Let me
little.
finish my
tail.
tip first, guys.
The
I
tail
do
starts
appreciate
to-
it.
And they spray the walls with shit.
Yep.
She was like that hippo.
Oh, she wasn't that far off from a hippo, so.
Whoa,
And here's
Well,
the
I
problem.
don't
with
know
this.
fat jokes.
you kind of went too far.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fine. The problem with
Joke was a little bit too heavy, dude.
conversation is it's completely disgusting. But
Oh,
What?
you know, in reality,
It's part of life, bro.
Exactly.
it's going off. though.
it actually might be something you would bullshit about at a pub. So that's the intention of the pub.
So
Well,
people don't understand what's going on in the chat, even though I just only see cup of tea. There was a road rage incident that a woman got out of her car, went to the hood of the person that was following her, and liquid diarrhea all over her hood, and got back in her car and
She,
took off.
she dropped trow, faced the hood of the car, and sprayed and brown stained it.
Who doesn't?
Right, exactly. I was like, and
I
that's
feel
what
like
I've
Ace
that,
is
that's
was like,
been
well,
the piece in my life.
Why is Topple even showing this?
Yeah.
I thought,
Matt-
well, I'm always good at putting my things in certain categories.
There's
I
this
Not
feel
even
famous.
for work.
I'm having a
It was
flashback to Aphid's story about the grocery store.
about what? When he was rude, couldn't say excuse me to somebody.
No. When some guy
Oh, another
shit
one?
all over
So
the
many ones.
floor.
Oh yeah, the guy, man, dude, the black guy's like, man, duded himself, man, dude, and I was like, what are you saying? And I'm getting ready to walk into it, and then I realize, oh,
Oh, aisle 4. No.
now I know what you're saying there, brother.
There's this famous.
Thanks for the heads up.
There's this famous story up here, and I can't remember exactly the details. So I'm paraphrasing it, but this lady has this altercation at I think it's at a fast food place, and the whole thing breaks down. So this lady like gets pissed off, pulls her pants down, takes a shit in her hands, and then throws it at the fast food attendant, and then walks out of the store.
Oh, man.
Nope.
That's going a little too far.
That's what I mean. It's a famous story because it's like the woman's like the level of confidence in the woman as she pulls down her pants and just starts to launch one, like it's incredible.
So it's
Incredible.
like it's
Yeah,
not her
I mean-
first time doing it. That's the thing. It's like
Yeah,
that's her MO.
Wow.
Yeah, is it? Is
What
it
do you
either-
do if that happens? Are you allowed to kill them? Yeah.
I mean,
right?
You're allowed to deep fry them.
I'd
You know,
probably be asking
he's-
questions later.
as a legitimate response, like,
What
yeah,
do you
that
do?
it could be carrying life-threatening bacteria for sure.
There you go. You're a good lawyer, Smoke Steve.
Could be septic.
I mean, I'd be willing to face any punishment if I took action
but-
against that person.
If you shoot,
I'd be like, hey, I'd go to court and be like, hey, well, you do what you got to do to me. If it happened tomorrow, I'd do the same thing
Do what you
again.
gotta do.
Beat the shit out of that motherfucker.
If you shoot when the shit's in the air, you're going to be guilty, though. You'd have to. Your time would be better used to evade the shit than take
Well,
aim and fire. The shit's already airborne, so what good is the shot going to do?
And you can't beat the shit
Just
out
gonna
of them
make
because
more of
they've
it.
already.
I don't know
gotten rid
how
of it
Canada
themselves.
is with self-defense. I don't think they have stand your ground or any of that stuff. So.
Well, that's just what it doesn't matter if the shit's already been fired and they're,
Is that an
No.
equal response, though? Is that an equal response?
We have
A
proportional
bullet for
response.
shit.
We have proportional response self-defense. So basically,
Okay.
if somebody throws poo at you, you're allowed to throw poo back at them.
Yes,
But
yes.
not twice as much poo.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a legal conundrum for the ages, for sure.
But everyone would understand, though, just not in a court.
Mhm.
I have a question for you guys,
Oh.
not based on feces.
I can't show you guys. I can't show you this video. Like I really can't show you this video. But fuck it.
Darn.
I wish I could. Can I? I can't stream this. Can I?
Put it in the back
No, you
chat.
Put it in the back
probably
chat.
can't. But RW, what's your story?
So
Put it in the back chat and we can decide.
there was an executive order today. You guys know Fred Rogers, right? Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Darn
Yeah.
right.
solely responsible for speaking to the government council and keeping public funding going for PBS.
PBS, yeah.
Well, today an executive order was signed to stop all federal funding for PBS and NPR, and I'm curious if you guys have any thoughts on that. Seems to
Long
be split
overdue.
also.
I don't.
This thought.
I don't think it's a good idea, but Last Dance thinks it's great.
I listen to NPR on the commercials for my rock stations and my morning drive. I'll throw it on because they line up their commercials for usually the 7 and 8 o'clock news blurb. And even though I, catch them for 15, 20 minutes a day, I don't think the government should be paying for it.
No, the government shouldn't be paying for it.
But I'm fine with NPR existing without government funding, which I think they can do. I think they do advertising, but they say this segment is funded by the blah, blah, blah corporation. Instead of that, just do a fucking commercial for the blah, blah, blah corporation.
She would have been
It's the
shot.
same thing.
She would have been shot.
Well, this is what I'm saying.
Sorry. I'm watching the video.
John P. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation.
Exactly. Take that, keep that going, and then throw a couple ads in to subsidy for the 1 to 10% that the government funds for that station, depending on the particular station.
It's a choice they make not to run commercials. I don't see why the government has to pay them for that choice. It doesn't make any sense.
And I would gladly admit it. It's completely biased, which is hugely problematic when it's funded by the government.
But what's the reason why is Trump stopping it?
I think the main
would
reason
have to look
is
into
bias.
Biasness?
Yes.
If it's
Why
Trump,
is-
it's because they don't speak kindly of him.
Oh,
Exactly.
so automatically that has to go. That's not a
It
problem.
should though. However, flimsy or whatever you want to call that reasoning to be, it's still very legitimate. It
Yeah,
shouldn't.
it's insane that we have government-funded media in the United States. It really is. I wouldn't care if it. What if the government funded Fox News? That'd be insane.
Exactly.
I think there's. I mean, this comes from obviously Canadian, so it's a little different. But I think there is a time and place for government media or government-funded media, specifically as it pertains to small towns and small local media, because what happens when the big corporations own that media, it's never really local. You never really get local news. You always get the news from the bigger hub that's near or the bigger city. And in that respect, I think it's important for the government to at least offer some avenue, whether it be through grants or whatever, to offer some level of terrestrial radio or terrestrial communication or otherwise to far out parts of the country.
That's exactly right.
That's a more reasonable use of government money, I would think. But NPR and PBS aren't local media.
And the funny thing is, during some of the testimony that NPR gave to Congress about this, they brought up some areas that had been hit by hurricanes, and some of these people, their only source of news was NPR, which in one sense is, wow, okay, great. But then the other sense is it's completely fucking biased. So it's still something. It's a lifeline for them to the world. And that is a legitimate thing to advocate for from the government. But when you add in like a heaping, cupful of bias, it becomes, negative. It puts a sour taste in people's
Or
mouths.
better yet, they can't do anything political no more.
That's a tough one. You're right. Maybe that has to be because. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, you can't do political, but it's freedom of, or it's press. Where the hell? I don't like he's getting rid of it because he feels like they've been bad to him and conservatives. I think that's the shit that bothers me about that.
Yeah. First of all, I don't know. You know, it may not even be his call to make. I mean, I don't
They
know.
claim it's not.
You know, Trump thinks he can basically rule by decree, which even this tariff business, it's not entirely clear that he has the power under the Constitution to do all this tariff business. But yeah, it's not his idea of ruling by decree is just ridiculous.
Who challenges an executive order? Is it the Supreme Court?
Well, that could be, but I mean, eventually it gets to the Supreme Court.
Yes.
But you know, you have both houses of Congress. They are the ones that authorize spending. Just have them pass a bill that cuts NPR and PBS funding out.
But that won't happen.
That's what Congress is for.
That's
not
what they're going
But
through.
But that's how
They're going
government
through that.
works.
That's how the government works, but that's not how it's going to happen. So he has to put his executive order in.
But I mean, the reason it doesn't happen is because the will of the people don't outweigh the votes to have the right people in office to get it taken care of. That's, you know, because it's not just this instance; it's every instance. That's how government works. That's how democracy works.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
says
in this
that-
particular case, there needs to be a complete removal of funding for any public radio and public television. Let them go on their own, and then possibly explore some minor funding for areas that are in disaster to get some kind of broadcast news to them. But then saying like what NPR is like, well, we're the only thing they had,
That's not
so we deserve the $1 billion a year. No, I think that myopic little area that's susceptible to that particular disaster could get funding for some kind of a news, or maybe multiple newses, without having to fund NPR for the entire fucking year, or PBS or whatever.
Well,
it be.
with NPR, I think it's somewhere around like 25%. I don't know if that's just
it's not.
well, locally it is. I don't. That's what I was getting ready to say. I don't know. I don't know if it is just that's a local thing or not.
For us up here, it's 10 to 15% for NPR. But I think
That they're getting the government funding is only 15%.
yes.
Yeah,
I don't
and I'm
understand
sure
the
more
argument.
conservative areas, it's probably, 40, 50% because they don't get the, because they're not going to get the people donating the money in more conservative, rich places.
But
You know what I'm
also,
saying?
PBS gets more donations than the radio. I feel, I from what I understand.
I don't understand the argument though, because if anyone has a smartphone, and pretty much everyone does now in the United States, they have access to news and journalism.
What happens if towers are down?
Which
Which
doesn't
happen.
I certainly don't think that the federal government should fund NPR just for emergencies when the internet goes down.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's
It's like funding the whole country for the year for this
Right.
1 week in like 1,000 square mile area, if
Right.
it's even that big,
Right.
Besides, the good old boys have CB radios anyway.
It only gets to a certain distance, though.
I don't know if I agree with the smartphone thing either, because I think that lower income people, their access to, the
They got
internet,
Obama phones. They're fine.
or old people don't have my mom doesn't have a smartphone. I think we put too much. Think we put, maybe in a generation we'll be there, but I don't think yet we're there. I'm not saying that as an argument against public funding NPR and PBS. I'm just saying that I hear that argument a lot with different things.
Directly, they might not, but their person right next to them probably does, and they'll hear from that person that comes and checks on them. Maybe.
I mean, once again, I don't think that's a good argument. I think
anytime there's something like the last time everyone lost internet around me was when a minor earthquake happened, because everyone was calling, that'll take down your phone service too. So a radio AM service that would be the best way to get your news at that time. But
No,
we
you're-
also have local news too, though, that are on AM radios too, though.
Right. Yeah, wife bought one of those ones. We can crank it too, and we can get the
Yeah, I got,
yeah.
I got one of those. But like mine,
Comes with a
yeah,
flashlight. It's a
you gotta
flashlight
keep
with a radio.
you gotta keep cranking it to hear it. So, I mean, yeah, I guess you could just sit there and keep cranking it.
Yeah,
But
but
as soon as you
ones
stop,
running
it's got like
across
10
the-
seconds of juice out of that
The
cranking.
battery systems in them need a Tesla upgrade. That's for sure.
yeah, but you get it. I mean, between the 3 people, you can pass off the cranks.
Yeah.
4 people, whatever. I mean,
Get a good circle crank going.
Yeah.
when I cranked it a bunch of times, and then I showed her, she was like, "Did you put batteries in it?" And I was like, "No, I cranked it." She's like, What are you talking about?" It's a survival radio. That's just the whole point of it. And she was
Right,
like,
right.
Cool. Yeah, right on.
So you'll be able to, hear that. Yeah, you did get nuked. Sorry.
Yeah.
Better luck next go around. We're starting over though.
And I don't know about yours, but the noise of that crank outweighs the amount of speaker you get out of it. too.
This one seemed good. It worked for like 3 minutes off of like
Oh, wow.
1 minute of cranking. So
I got a generator or something good. I don't need a crank stuff.
I have one too. But the funny thing is, after we used it, at this point, this thing is down in the bottom of some fucking storage container. If the shit hits the fan, by the time we find that thing, we're
Me
gonna be,
too,
like,
man.
dead of starvation. Like it was one of those. Oh, cool. Yeah, this thing's not bad. No, I don't know. It's fucking gone forever.
I was just thinking of that. I was like, where the fuck did I put that thing?
It's Gonzo. Yeah, but-
It's next to the canned food and the guns.
No, we can still find those. The canned food.
I remember when you could buy a clock radio that would tune to 5, 10, 15, 20 megahertz, where there was like a world broadcast of the time. Why would you care that much about the time?
Oh, you mean literally the time, the world's
Yeah.
time.
Yes.
Nice.
The Cuban Missile Crisis. Around that time.
Remember the old phone number? It was ME71111 or 1234.
I was just thinking that ours was FA12222, and it would give you a brief what the weather was going to be too.
Yeah,
Well,
I
here
did have
was
one of
the
those, but I
time.
don't remember what it was.
Here it was at the tone. New England telephone time is 10:26 p.m.
I wonder if it still works.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. The only thing I remember is
That's somebody's phone. Somebody's
I know.
Yeah, you would dial that number, ME7, M being the numerical thing. You know how there's little letters
Yep.
under the number. ME7 1234, and then you would get the time on your phone if you didn't have a watch on. You could find out the time.
Oh.
It's the only way.
It works.
It still works. It says it says the date first. Let me put it.
Don't talk
About
Trump.
falls or medical emergencies.
Oh, it's got a little ad now.
MedGuard Alert New Care Watch. If you need help from anywhere at any time, use it to contact medical professionals.
Let's
no
see.
cell phone required.
It's going to go into the weather
Care
update.
Watch is not only a life-saving.
Oh,
medical
come
alert,
on.
So it's just paid for with that.
Right.
blood pressure, heart rate,
I can't believe people are still calling into this
and much
thing.
more.
No, you're the only one.
They can't believe it either. They're like, what? Somebody called in?
Yeah. They were like, holy shit. Push the button.
Our only call of this year.
Yeah, he's going to be getting a call that he won a prize.
Shipping is free.
It's still the
No
fucking
contact
ad.
is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your care watch.
Medicaid.
I'll wait to.
That's right.
Oh, that's all it is.
It
Oh,
didn't
no.
give you anything?
8 p.m., where the current temperature is 62 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's the good news.
Northwest at 9 miles per hour.
9.
Humidity 67%.
That's a little high.
Here's the latest weather forecast.
Yeah, now they're going into the weather forecast.
Chance of showers, mainly before.
That's crazy.
You know what
I
the
can't believe-
downside is they got your phone number, and they now think you're some old geezer that they can
Yeah, right.
scam out of your life savings.
Right.
You get nonstop calls now.
Knowing this information, we don't need PBS or NPR anymore.
Well, my dad's got the Marine Time radio that's just for that, so it just skips the phone.
Yeah, when I was a kid, man, that was like the ticket to find out. Like they'd say 2 to 4 inches, and then you call back like a half an hour later. Oh, is it a new one? You know, is it 3 to 5 yet? You know, and you just keep calling it all night long. And
No,
see it.
because back then
Remember the
they
school
actually
kid on the
could
block.
correctly get the weather right back in the day. That's why.
Ah.
Guys, do you guys on your terrestrial radio still have emergency lines, like emergency broadcasts, so like you can figure out
What
what
test?
like no, so like if you ever like I don't know. If you're stuck somewhere in the middle of buttfuck nowhere, or even if you have no power anywhere, there's always going to be a terrestrial radio line that will give you like information, like whether it's like I can't remember what it was. Like for us up here, it's a emergency radio line where if you're you can not like modern radios don't have it, but a lot of older radios have it where you press a button and it swaps over to a frequency where it'll tell you if there's like a tornado warning or if there's this, and it would tell you if there's where the tornado warning is situated. So and stuff like that.
No, I don't think we ever had that.
No.
I don't know.
I don't know. We don't get tornadoes.
We do have something called the emergency broadcast system, which is which any facility that has a license from the FCC, so like radio or broadcast television, has to subscribe to, and the government can commandeer the airways in the event of an emergency.
Didn't they just upgrade that?
It's never
somehow? It's
happened.
Controversial. Like
I don't
last
know.
year, there's something that happened in that FCC contract that people with the 5G and everything, they were like conspiracy theorying over. Does that ring a bell to anybody?
No.
You might be right. I don't know.
Okay.
No,
I
I
didn't
get
dig
weather
into that.
alerts and Amber alerts all the time on my phone. So
Yeah,
All the time?
yeah,
Bro, those are silly.
I hate those damn things. They go,
you can turn
makes you
the Amber
jump out of my
alert off,
skin.
but the weather ones or like natural disaster alerts, I don't think you can turn them off.
So we have in Canada, they call it the SARIF, or I guess they call it what do they call it? Search and Rescue Interagency Frequency. I guess that's what they call it. And it works on various different broadcast signals, but they mainly give off like let's call it weather radio and or SARIF. And they're two lines, basically 2 frequencies. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, not 8 frequencies in which you just get emergency information from.
Okay. Yeah.
I got shortwave radio back there. It's got everything
Well,
I need.
let's fire it up.
Well,
What's your call sign?
Yeah, tune into 5 megahertz.
I don't know I don't even know how to work it.
Great. I'm glad you have that radio.
Let me get it.
I don't know how to use it. I just got it. I got it from some geezer who died and left his friggin' radio. It looked
Fine, let's
cool,
go
so I
on.
got it.
so
for
what do you mean
75
by
cents.
the frequencies?
Cam.
I'll be damned. It's the crank thing. I didn't realize it was this one. Yeah, here's the. See, you hear how loud it is?
I'm gonna get my pencil sharpener out.
Yeah, it's a shortwave radio though.
Well, tune something. Tune some waves.
Well, I probably don't. I probably didn't give it enough juice.
Does it have
it up.
No.
please fan on there?
It does. It won't even. It won't even turn the light on.
Yeah, dude, you only did that for about 5 seconds. You gotta start.
Oh yeah,
Get back to
yeah. It's working. Oh, Chip don't like it.
You need
Sorry,
to,
Chip.
I think you need to crank it a little bit faster than that.
The brushes are bad on it.
It's I don't know. There's like 10 different rows of bands on here.
Yeah.
They should,
Yeah, we
they
get
should
we get
rid of
similar. We have similar stuff. That's cool, man.
They should get rid of the crank and use the magnets that you shake for like the flashlight, so you can just sit there and like shake the hell out of the radio while you're.
Oh, it's got solar power too.
Yes.
From
I think I got this thing at a estate sale or something. Some old dude died.
In the dumpster outside of
It
the
was-
state sale.
It was his pride and joy. It's even got a nice wristband so you could hang this gigantic thing off your wrist. Well, you got to be a chick, I guess, to get your hand in there.
I have a question out of left field for the panel.
Left field.
Yes, way out there for those of you that like baseball, or at least people falling out of stands. So it's someone saying here that the Antarctic and Greenland ice sheets contain more than 99% of all freshwater ice on Earth. What if a Greenland grab is for holding fresh water, like a power move for fresh water?
Oh, God damn, with the
What?
3D chest again.
Yeah.
60.
Yeah.
So do you
60
think?
chest. Trump's just outsmarting everybody again.
So do you
Damn
think
straight.
that?
So much
Do you
winning.
think that they're going to build like a pipeline for water to bring the water down to the U.S. or what?
Sure, why not?
Why
Right
do
next
we
to the
need? We have enough water already.
Just
We have,
start-
to
How
start,
fresh
we have
is
to
it?
start melting the ice sheets. We're already in the apocalypse.
You know what,
Well,
last
that
dance.
would be
You know what,
about
last dance.
making
At
Flint,
least for
Michigan
you, you don't have to worry too much about that, okay? Because by the time we've melted the ice sheets, give us about 20 years and we'll melt them all. You'll be,
Right, I'll be in my hundreds.
you'll be looking at the tail end of things,
Right, it's dementia. Right, I don't plan on ever dying, but I might not be too with it.
You may not be, you may
We'll
not be
take
in
care of
this
you, buddy.
reality,
Yeah.
You know what I would love to see, RW? I would love to see the Americans build an aqueduct. So they're going to get the Marine Corps engineers, whatever the fuck they call them,
No, not
Army,
them. Somebody
Army.
else.
or the
Somebody
Army
else.
Corps of Engineers, whatever the fuck they call them, and then they're going
Yeah.
to build
They
an
can't even build
aqueduct.
bridges.
Yeah, they're going to build an aqueduct, okay, that goes straight from Greenland, right? That goes right to the Colorado River. And I think
What about the rest of us?
The
Well, I mean-
curvature of the Earth they're going to use with the
yeah.
You ever realize
I'm
how
fine
big
with that
Greenland is on a map?
It's big. Are we talking about like a UN map or like a globe or?
No, like a globe. It's huge.
Yeah.
it's
So we can pipe from anywhere probably. So I'm not against it.
We can lay the pipe.
lay the pipe.
I don't care about politics. I want those resources.
How about you got anything from the right field?
Question from the right field? I sure do. Give me a real quick second here.
Right field?
I don't know baseball terms.
Yes.
Baseball's is
Yes.
boring.
Their Chinese humanoid robots have completed the world first multitask training in a factory. The Ubitex Walker S1 humanoids have complete world first multi robot training at Zeekr 5G Smart Factory, advancing intelligent automation. So, in other words, if this story is true,
They're gonna
it
take
means that humanoid robots are now working in factories performing harder tasks so that people can get their 5G technology faster.
Hey, do you guys
I
remember?
don't have a question.
Do you guys remember like 15 years ago when I think it's Boston Dynamics or something had this like robot that could like carry a toolbox? You guys remember that?
Like Wally?
Well, yeah, there was the robot that did the flips and squats and
Yeah.
toolbox and all kinds
Was
of
it the
different
dog one? The one that looked like
Yeah.
a dog?
No, it was the
No.
human one. They didn't have the dog carrying a fucking toolbox. It's not some.
The
some
first
helper
robot I
dog.
remember seeing was the dog one where they were kicking it
Oh.
around. It's staying
Bro.
on its fork.
Honda's had their like robot out for like probably like 20 plus years at this point. But the one I'm talking about is the Boston Dynamics one, I think, which is
I don't know. It's like this like humanoid robot, and then everybody was like, "Oh my god, look, this is going to replace job sites the world over." And 15 years later, we're still nowhere near there.
Yeah, they got it like they made a good press release, and the thing was jumping up and down and doing all kinds of whacked out shit, and everyone was blown away because it was like superhuman. But when they gave it like intricate tasks to do in a manufacturing setting, stuff like that, or I don't think it was ever. Not even they gave the tasks. It was never designed for that. It seemed to be like a spectacle.
Yeah.
But it was cool. It was cool. It wasn't going to replace. It might have replaced like a gymnast who was going to go jumping in a weird pattern like a robot. I don't fucking know, but well, you know what I'm saying? It was essentially useless, but awesome at the same time.
Spectacular to see in person.
But I don't think they've. That you're speaking of this incarnation, I can't remember seeing any of these like progressing up through time.
No, exactly. That's what I mean. It's like we see them, we don't see about it for, ever.
Yeah, like at all. I mean, there's advances in robot manufacturing, but not in this free range robot world for sure.
Well, I mean, the technology is definitely advancing. I mean, people here on the panel multiple times have said that China is full of shit when it comes to their revelations of their technologies and what they're doing. But I think on the world stage, technology is definitely progressing rapidly, and automated factory production is going to be changing in leaps and bounds over the next 5 years.
I agree largely. I agree largely with whoever would think that China is full of shit, but I don't think they're as. I'll put it this way: they're full of shit, sure, but they're not as behind as people would make them out to be.
When you see their drone displays, you definitely see that they have advanced computer algorithm technology. Like they're breaking records with that stuff.
They're no slouch. Like China's not to be. China's not to be taken. I don't say taken lightly, but they're no slouch. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, they got wet markets though.
Wetties.
Pangolins.
There's another thing. There's another statement that came out. This is by Amuse, which some people don't appreciate that person. The statement is that Ukrainian Army Brigade Commander threatens Zelensky on national TV, warning he will regret any quote-unquote regret any negotiations or territorial concessions. Open insubordination is making it very risky for Zelensky to negotiate with Putin. I found this interesting because this happened just after we signed the minerals deal with Ukraine. So it looks like, if this is true, it looks like Ukraine's power structure is like fracturing, and they're going in two different directions. The military is going in one direction, and politicians are now heading towards resolution.
Ukraine's fracturing? That's what I'm hearing. Russia is fracturing.
Sorry, Ukraine's fracturing. What did I say? Russia?
No, but I'm hearing. I know you're saying Ukraine. I'm hearing Russia is underfunded and fracturing.
I've heard that also. This is just something new that dropped. It's all.
Do you buy that
Russia's
Russia's using donkeys and like the Donkey Brigade? Donkey?
What? Like the Pony Express? What's going on?
Yeah, they're like loading up some like stuff on donkeys and using them.
I mean, if you think about it, is it cheaper to lose a donkey than a tank to a drone? I don't know.
No, the tank's built in 1960s.
Well, in fairness, donkeys traverse land a hell of a lot easier than tanks do.
Sure. I mean, yeah, up and down if it's craggy and vertical and stones. Donkeys definitely are good on that, and they can carry, 400 or 500 pounds.
I mean,
for one of those fuckers.
mules were used, and I think they still are to this day, but less so now. But like mules were used for a very long time to like establish mining towns, right? Like before roads could be established, they wanted to establish mining settlements. The only way to get material anywhere, short of building a road, which was very hard, was to use mules. And with mules, you don't need to build roads. You can just kind of build a path, right? Because the mule can basically go over pretty much anything.
Right. And mules are, I believe, sterile. Mules cannot reproduce, right?
I believe it's a combination of a donkey and a horse, therefore it's sterile, yes.
No, it's that other thing. It's a donkey and is it a jennet or a rennet?
I'm not familiar then.
Bennett?
Is that what it is?
I don't know.
I'd have to look it up.
They got a cock?
I will.
They got a hang.
That's all you're interested in.
Yeah, I mean, I took some pictures of some one time. And they're
Well, one time in Mexico,
donkey
between a donkey and a horse.
Cup of tea figured it all out.
Donkey.
Donkey and
Wikipedia
an
is
ass.
saying the mule is the domestic equine hybrid between a donkey and a horse.
Fair enough.
And a female horse.
Donkey horse.
And the male donkey does have a penis.
Oh, cool.
Damn right.
Yep.
David Lips pretending he doesn't know
He's all right in my book.
Well, I mean, the old expression "donkey dick." If they didn't have a dick, then the whole expression is null and
That's a
void.
good point. That's a good point.
That is good. That's a good
That's a totally
So-
escaped.
Is the expression donkey dick that the donkeys have like a disproportionately small penis, or that it's weird looking? Like, what's the
I
expression?
don't know. Usually,
That's like
we don't allow-
that's the Asian variety. I think you're talking about.
This is usually where
Whoa.
My search history is about to go bad. Here we go. Sorry, no relevant information on AI assist. Let me keep digging.
Wow,
God.
you're really bastardizing your algorithm now. God knows who shows up.
It means a very large penis. It just means a very large penis.
Oh, donkeys are got it going on.
Whoa. Okay.
And the numeric value of donkey dick in Chaldean is 7.
Huh.
In case you guys ever need to know that information.
Inches or 7?
No, just the Chaldean numerology it equals 7.
Oh,
I don't even know what Chaldean
So like
is.
if everyone's like, hey, how many tacos do you want? You're like, donkey dick.
oh.
You're like, I don't know how much that is.
Don't know what that means.
I'm gonna try that at the Bell tomorrow.
What do you hit
Nice.
Taco Bell on a Saturday, bro?
I might just so I can use my donkey dick 7 reference.
Yeah, no. Donkey Bell or Taco Bell is better suited for like Monday.
What?
Yeah, is that right?
Why?
Monday, Tuesday.
Bro, the shit's on the Tuesday?
Well, it's cheap money. Like you go with the crappy lunches early in the week. I bring my own lunch every day, but I don't want to see our bro here going to Taco Bell on a Saturday.
Yeah, it's Sunday to shit his brains out, though.
No, I think we might. There's a new Chinese
Fucking
buffet.
road rage.
My mom and my brother are going to at 10:30 in the morning.
You guys are going to force feed yourself Chinese buffet at
I might.
10:30 a.m.
Well, because my brother wants to be like the first person there. He's so excited about it.
And
Chinese
this
butt
is
fed.
for purely for the purpose of consuming more food and fresher food.
Well, just because we have to drive about 15 plus miles to go to a decent Chinese buffet now. And
But-
it's right next to the Harbor Freights. It was a Chinese buffet. And
Define
Next to the harbor.
define good Chinese buffet. Like what
I've never
what is the distinction
heard
there?
of Chinese.
the thing that the vat the food's sitting in,
Uh-huh.
the actual heater works. That's
Oh my God.
good.
Oh my god,
God.
that's such a low standard.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
So you're talking, high quality.
yeah. I mean, yeah. This is a you tip $1 or $2, because they just bring your. Well, I usually get water because most places overcharge for the sodas.
Of course.
What do you get?
Can't you get the
don't
water
get
out of the
Chinese
bottom of that
tea?
vat that
The
heats
tea,
Yeah, but they charge like $3 for that.
$3.
I mean, so they're already yanking me for $15.
$15.
15 bucks.
Getting a good yank for 15
You're
bucks.
eating
What are we complaining
Chinese
about
food
here?
for $15.
As much as you want, brother.
That's what I mean.
Oh, and they got the
I don't want-
seafood.
I
They
don't
got.
want any.
We're hoping they got the seafood section.
What
So
is
that's
They got
per
the-
person.
The crab legs. It's like they're like pencil thin, and my brother gets them, and they're like soggy, like they don't snap. They're just bend, and my brother gets them, and he gets out this like pencil dick thing, and I'm like,
Last chance.
you
Sorry.
sat there for 10 minutes trying to get that thing out of there.
You guys
Dude,
got
Last chance. Are you
Right.
familiar with a place called South Pacific in Ellicott City, Maryland?
No, never heard of it.
Nothing.
Okay, never
Nobody.
mind.
Is it a Chinese buffet?
It was a Chinese buffet, yes, and my family ate there a lot in the zeros.
Was it on Main Street?
It was on 40, yeah.
Oh, 40. Okay.
Look up.
Could still be there.
Never
It's-
really
I don't
heard
know.
of
I don't
Chinese
know.
buffets.
What? They don't have those in Philly?
That's what I'm checking now.
You're in the
one down
suburbs,
here
aren't
where
you?
we live is literally just
I'm
called
in the-
Chinese
I-
buffet.
I
That's
am
the
in
name
the
of the
suburbs.
restaurant.
Oh, surely they got Chinese buffets.
We don't have them here. I bet there are some. But
There's
I've never-
one that's 2 minutes from me.
Don't do it, last name.
See?
Don't do it.
You need to go check that shit out, dude.
Oh, well, I'm
The
gonna-
key is you got to make it there before like 2 in the afternoon, though, because they're not going to replenish the stock until like 4 or 5 o'clock at night, until the crowd starts. So if you get there like 3:30, you're just asking for
$10 to
a
$20
sore belly.
It's 4 stars out of 964 reviews.
Oh, that's good because usually Chinese buffets are in the lower
Robot
3
reviews.
stars.
Those are bought and paid for, man. Get out of here.
Yeah, I got nothing.
I'm just ignorant.
You really got nothing there?
No.
That's
What about
shocking.
Indian buffet?
Last Dance. Just look it up.
Yeah, we got those too.
Oh, I definitely have Indian buffets. That's very common.
Those are disgusting.
Those were so
Bunch
much
of
better. in Maryland.
vegetarians.
Oh, I love that.
I love it.
Yeah, dude.
We have
Yeah,
one.
those
oh,
are buffets
oh,
I'll get
buffet,
on.
though.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, there's 2 different kinds. That you got the vegetarian style, and then you got the more American style.
Here you go. Aphid lip. Here's the 2 different kinds. Both. So,
Yeah,
all right.
No,
I've had Indian
That is not a
buffets.
bot review, Topple. That was an official human review.
no.
Now here's the thing.
Best
Like
cooking there is.
The vegetarian place
Indian
we
is
use
foul,
is
bro.
amazing.
Yeah.
The best thing they have is samosas and pagodas, which are these little fried dumplings. And even then, they try to give you these sauces that like the whole community used.
Yeah.
Disgusting. Like, give
Have
me
you seen
my
how
own-
have you seen how those people eat? They like all sit around a table. There's a bunch of food in the middle, and they're digging in there with their raw hands and licking their fingers.
They do eat
Oh,
with their hands.
Sometimes
It's
they use
very-
their belt to scoop it out.
I don't
Yeah.
see it very often, but one time I was eating some chickpeas. It's called chana masala, and scooping it up with the bread. And one Indian guy at the next table, he says, "That's how I do it too." I almost walked out.
Which hand?
Yeah, exactly. No comment.
Yeah, because I believe you're only supposed to eat with your right hand.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know that.
Oh, don't listen to him. Hey, what if Topple said that? Would you believe it?
Well, what do they
No, because Topple lies constantly, nonstop. But Smoke Steve has a pretty good. He's 80%.
Yeah, but
What
it's
do they do
50%
with
if
the
he's
other
getting-
hand, Last Dance?
You use it to take care of cleaning
Yeah.
after getting rid of the previous food.
Yeah.
Oh,
So one hand they wipe with, the other hand they're supposed to eat.
yeah.
Exactly.
That's
Fucking gross, kid.
that's gross.
Fly me to the moon. I ain't going there. That's fucking gross. No motherfucking way, dude.
Oh my God, we have really descended here.
Well,
I mean, even
people
like
throwing shit at people, donkey penis,
Yeah, I guess we were
Chinese
we started off-
buffets.
Yeah,
It's
that-
linear.
Man,
was
China, You guys don't know what you're missing. Chinese buffets is where it's at. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. No.
God, no.
I'm
Dude.
being ignorant. Is that sushi or is that Japanese?
That's Japanese.
What?
A lot of times they do have a sushi bar at the Chinese buffet.
You don't eat the sushi there, do you?
I don't. My son does.
Oh,
He
What
loves
kind of
sushi.
fancy ass Chinese sushi is that?
I love it too. If at a good place, I love me some sushi.
Yeah, my son
At
loves
a
it.
good place, yes. The difference between that is $15 for one roll of sushi as opposed to the whole buffet as much as you can eat.
Yeah,
well,
that's
my
where
buddy-
I go.
We're connoisseurs. We know, you know.
Man.
You get all those choices. Come on, you can get as many crab ragoons as you want. Nobody's gonna say no.
The one thing
Yeah.
that I remember was the little like donut hole like things with the sugar that on the outside.
Oh, those are yeah.
those were dangerous.
I'm always so stuffed by the time dessert comes around. Though.
The
That doesn't stop you.
the sushi Toro is the best. It's fatty tuna. It's absolutely incredible.
My son likes the crunchy rolls. Do you know what those are?
The deep
Yeah,
fried
they
ones.
put some crunchy thing on the outside.
Yeah.
That's fine. They're baby rolls. They're like kid rolls, you know, which
Well,
is
he's
fine.
50.
Who cares? He likes them.
Yep.
so you had to travel 15 miles to get to the Chinese buffet now?
The one that well, there's several that are closer, but they're like I said, man. I wasn't joking about the heaters. Like you gotta, if you go there, you gotta sit there and wait for them to come out and put the hot food in because it ain't gonna be hot in 10 minutes. So to go to the decent one, and it ain't even decent. It's gross.
No.
I'm not gonna lie. But this one's brand new, and that's the thing. With the Chinese buffets, you got to get them when they're brand new. The doorknobs all still match. The bathrooms don't smell of raw sewage. Like you got to go when they're brand new. You know, that's the deal. That's the
For
trick.
some reason, Incarnation left. I don't get it.
Probably had to throw up.
Yeah.
But my wife won't let us
Here's the
go on the like from fall till about now because all those people got their flu hands on all the spatulas and stuff. So
Smart.
but what we do is if we go, I make my son when we come back to the table, I bring a squirt bottle of hand sanitizer. And he's like, "No, Dad, I'm not going to do that." And I'm like, "Yes, you are, because you're going to get sick, and then you're going to get me sick because we've gotten sick so many times from Chinese buffets."
Where you go?
You got to put hand sanitizer on
Like-
the food, not on your hand.
How complicated is that math there, Toffel? I mean,
50% of the time that flu has won through our house has been traced back to Chinese buffet.
China.
Well, I mean, I would say
Kung
one
flu.
thing to be for
Hey.
sure. When you're at the buffet, get a Mai Tai, and that will help kill the germs.
Oh yeah, is that right?
Hell,
I don't know if they.
yeah.
I don't think they have a. I don't think they serve
$15
alcohol.
for that.
They don't serve alcohol.
I don't
God
think they
damn.
do. I don't think they do.
It's
Tough
not
times.
even that good of a Chinese restaurant.
No.
Most
never
good
got sick.
Chinese restaurants you go to for the drinks: zombie, Mai Tai, zombie Mai Tai. And
I never
and-
got sick from God's chicken.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one of
Chick-fil-A.
those weird dishes.
Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
It's too
No,
bad
my-
we don't have there are four lights still here because he
Yeah, I
They-
think it's
lives in
cheaper
China.
than a Chinese. It's not all you can eat, but
It's
My
still
brother
very-
calls it. My brother calls that bigot chicken.
big
You
Yeah,
can go to Bigot Chicken. I'm like, dude, they got good food there.
They changed the recipe a few months ago. You guys
Oh.
heard about this, right?
no.
On the
Where
fries,
are we
the
talking
fries.
Where are we
The fries
talking
and
about?
the chicken? Chicken
What do they
fucking
do?
fillet.
See, I didn't hear that they did it with the chicken. I only heard they did it with the fries.
They did it with everything.
Well, so Jason was just sharing that they no longer have the supply for the antibiotic-free chicken, so now they're pumping out just whatever they can get.
Antibiotic loaded chicken.
Yeah, exactly. So he's like, but it tastes different. So I didn't hear about a recipe change, but the chicken meat quality difference would definitely make a difference.
It's been months since I had it anyway, so.
An odd one.
Well, it would make sense because they changed their frying oil, is what I understand. And you would think that all the chicken would be fried in the same thing that they fry the fries in.
They should change their oil to chicken fat, and then it would just be like chicken fried chicken, and then everything would be amazing.
What kind of
Just my
expense
idea.
is that?
Holy cow!
Yeah, probably.
What's that?
Wow, look
Talking
who
about
it
so much
is.
Chinese food. He came.
All
to
right, he
correct
lives
us.
in China, so
No way. How cool.
Greetings.
Cheers! It's been a minute at least.
Cheers, buddy.
so
How's
you
it going,
hear us,
guys?
you hear us talking about Chinese buffets
Yeah, yeah.
here in the United States.
I thought I'd get involved.
Yeah, you got to jump in, man.
I'm not much of a Chinese food fan, but yeah. I just thought I'd
Chinese.
go.
I could eat Chinese food every single day, but your Chinese food over there probably isn't the same as ours.
Yeah, they have real Chinese food.
You guys,
Yeah.
it got
I eat Western, you know. I eat
Yeah,
Western.
it got all watered down by the time it got over there.
Right back. I'll be
We
right
make it right.
There's no General Tso there.
I'm in a luxury hotel in. I'm in a luxury hotel in Shenyang,
Oh man!
and it's really nice here.
Oh, let's
Is that a beer you're drinking?
Yeah.
Oh, I
yeah.
can see this.
Oh, we
Oh,
can-
it's really cool. Yeah.
I can see the skyline in the reflection.
Oh, that was interesting. No, I just can't seem to zoom.
Oh yeah, look at that. That is nice. What's it
I
like
just see
6
bright light.
6 a is like 6 a.m. there or something?
No, it's 11 a.m. Nearly
Oh, that's
11
perfect.
a.m.
Yeah, that's
12 hours.
you
from-
could be drinking that time of day.
Yeah, it's
allowed.
hair of the dog.
So anything new with you?
No, it's May holiday here, so I've had a week off work. My wife
Nice.
and kids are done swimming. I'm a bit hungover, so I heard you guys talking about China. I thought I'd jump in.
Yeah, I
Right.
appreciate it. Who did we lose? We lose
Smoke Steve.
most of
Oh, you're the driver now.
well, he'll be back.
I scared him
Oh
off.
no.
He might be gone. He was fading.
No, he didn't seem like he was fading.
He's been pretty good the last few weeks.
Hey, Greg, what is the vibe over there in China with all the tariffs? I know I'm going back to tariffs and everything, but I'm curious what it's like on that end. What people are
I
talking
think
about.
I know a guy that owns a restaurant. It's kind of hurt him a bit, you know. He used to get the American meat, and so it's. But you don't hear much of it from the local perspective, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair. Just curious.
I think you guys are more. Your stuff comes from there more than our stuff
Yeah.
comes from here.
Well, with my friend likes to buy the foreign meat. Oh, my wife keeps messaging. Right.
It's a higher
generally,
quality?
they buy local, you know.
Is the American meat a higher
What-
quality?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, especially the beef. Yeah, for
Okay.
sure. Yeah, for good quality. They don't feed the animals very well. I don't think, you know.
You got Wagyu,
So,
don't you?
That's
What's that, man?
bro.
You got Wagyu, or is that somewhere else?
That's
I don't know.
Japan. That's
That's
Japan.
Japan. I get them.
God damn racist everywhere. Oh, they all look the same. They must all look the same
I
thing.
did not say
Topple-
that. I did not
Topple
say that.
teaches geography and world culture at
Yeah.
Philadelphia public schools.
Shitty walk.
Well, I don't think There For Lights was born there, so I don't think.
You don't think?
I don't think he'll be too offended.
There you go, making racial assumptions, Adrian.
It's been a bad day with this. Smoke Steve talking good about the
Hey,
Philippines.
cup of tea. You remember my name.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well,
He doesn't miss a thing. If I
tec-
slip up,
technically, there's
don't-
only two.
right. If there's one thing you know, It's that Greg Koppel's first name isn't Greg. His last name is
Why is not Greg? It's Gregory.
Gregorian.
Basically, anything else he's ever said, guaranteed to be false.
It's a good strategy on the internet. I don't.
Yep, it is. It really
If
is.
you know my real name, did I give you my real name before?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you told me.
Okay.
Oh,
I get lost.
Well, I mean, you told me a name.
Oh yeah, that's true. What did I give you?
Good answer.
I'm not gonna say what you told me.
Man learned his lesson.
I did give you my real phone number though.
I think so.
No, I did give you that was real.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat says they can speak Chinese. I envy them. I'm very lazy with the language.
How long?
I don't just. I came here a long time ago, 2002. But I met my wife here, and we lived in the UK for 15 years. And I came back out just as COVID, January 2020. I came back out. Just as everything went great.
Yeah, right before the shit hit the fan.
Yeah. But it's I'm not going back to the UK. That's for sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no chance.
Wow.
Our gas bill recently, it was like £20 for the 2 months. You know, it was nothing.
Yeah,
Is
that's
the weather
rough.
better there?
That's like 1 week here.
Yeah, exactly.
Is the weather better there than the UK?
In the summer, it's constantly it's a nice temperature. Oh, for sure. Yeah, less rain. I live in a place called Way High by the beach, and it's beautiful. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, you can actually see the sky and the sunshine. It's different, right?
Yeah, Shenyang, where I am now, is a little bit different. It's very industrial, but it's a huge city.
Is there a lot? Is there a lot of English speaking people?
In this city, yes, yeah, sure. It's not very cosmopolitan. It's not like Beijing or Shanghai, but yeah, you can find places.
You got your circle of people you can talk to.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I have a question for the spread of the panel because we have quite a different group of people here. The CEO of Starbucks has admitted now that they cut a bunch of workers and they went with kiosks instead of like cashiers and stuff. They went with an automated interaction, and they are admitting that was a mistake, and they're going back to hiring people because people don't like interacting with kiosks and stuff, and they like gambled wrong. But I'm kind of surprised by that because I don't consider Starbucks to be like a coffee vibe place. It's not like a mom and pop coffee shop where you go and you hang out and there's atmosphere and stuff. But apparently a lot of people have that vibe of Starbucks and they want to interact with people and they don't want to tap on a kiosk and order that way.
Well, it depends
I'm
on
just
where
curious
you
if you
are
guys-
with Starbucks, because I've been a couple and I hate Starbucks coffee. I go in with workers and get water really. There's some Starbucks that it's booming inside. Like there's a guy there with a guitar just playing. It's a relax. But the kiosk thing, that comes down to the person. Like I hate it when I hate McDonald's, but I got kids. I hated that I had to go in. I couldn't talk to a person, and I had to order from that stupid screen. But then I found out I like it more because I didn't know about all the options they had too.
Anyone else on their?
I do like Starbucks, and I do like their coffee. Although I've stopped drinking decaf for the last several months, but I've never been to a Starbucks that had a kiosk. So, but I think I would miss the Starbucks employees are pretty good. They're well trained. I think they get paid more than minimum wage, so they get a better average employee. And so, yeah, you'd be missing out with the kiosk at Starbucks. At McDonald's, yeah, a kiosk is usually an improvement.
But is this mostly on the West Coast because the what the rate is for What is
I
it
would have to
called?
dig
Minimum
more
wage?
into it. I'm guessing it is because the CEO is the one commenting. I'm pretty sure that this originated in Seattle.
Do
You know
they
what?
have a minimum wage that's hiked skyrocket?
You know what I
I'm
have
not sure.
stopped
I have to
doing?
look into that.
I have stopped using the self checkout for the most part at the grocery store.
But yeah, I refuse if I have the option.
It's just so annoying.
I love it.
The machines are tuned. You know, if you like don't put this thing in at the right moment, alarms go off. It's just such a hassle that unless I have only 2 or 3 items, if I have more than that, I'm going to wait in line and go through the
Right.
cashier one, and it's more pleasant. Even
Well, it
with the
comes
wait.
down like we do our food shopping all through the week. There's some people that do it once a week. It all depends on that too. If I'm doing it once a week, yeah, I'm going through a
Or volume.
cashier. But if I'm only got a couple items, I'm going to go through that.
I'm curious to hear from Aphid and Greg on this because I'm split on. I like if at a certain kind of store, I like interacting with the people, like the cashier or whatever at the grocery store. I interact with them. I have like a real conversation. But like again, at McDonald's or whatever, a place where I'm just ordering something, I would rather use a kiosk and get it perfect so that I know that they fucked it up on their end and it wasn't a communication issue. But like, how do you guys on the bottom of the panel feel towards that kiosk interaction?
In China, I prefer the kiosk.
Well, yeah.
But isn't it in Chinese?
I hate mayonnaise, and they always put mayonnaise on shit, man.
Okay.
I gotta make sure that stuff isn't on there. Mayo or salaja, I think, but they never understand and they don't listen.
I would
I
think
don't
that
really
they
have
would do English on the kiosk. Go ahead, sorry.
I don't know what's so good about Aphid Lip that his opinion is so valuable.
Yeah, no
It's a
shit.
Chinese buffet.
I don't really have an opinion on it, to be honest. I don't care either way.
Now, I would love to go to a restaurant, sit down, and have one of those at the table that we can order instead of deal with a waitress.
I will say that, like, I order shit when I order shit online, like, or through an app or something, that my order percentage wise comes out. In fact, I don't think I've ever had a
perfect order
issue. No, I think it's always been perfect
Oh,
when I
okay.
order it through the app or online, where it's, you know, it's hit and miss when you order through a person.
Well,
but it is true too. Like somebody was saying, how there's more options. Like when you order through your app and shit, you got so many more options. Like you can hold stuff or put more stuff, and like you just don't do that when you talk to a person. You're just like, you order whatever number or whatever, and away you go.
Did you know they had a double fish fillet?
I feel like it's a hassle. Like if I tell somebody, oh, you know, I want more of this or less of this or something.
Yeah.
Well, I have a wife that she'll order, like, even simple Taco Bell. She doesn't like this kind of sauce, even though the taco has that sauce. And then I got to order without. I'm like, they're spitting in my food, I bet.
Yeah.
Like, yo, I want a cheeseburger without the cheese. You know, hamburger, no.
Yeah, cheeseburger with no cheese. Wait, what?
Man, I worked at a restaurant and I do not complain at all because I know what goes on.
Well, you know, with places
as
like
a rule, I prefer cash. You know, as a rule.
Really?
But you don't see it in China. Cash, you don't see it much.
I pay cash for almost everything.
I always pay credit. I never pay cash.
In the UK, I'm cash. But here, yeah, it's different. Everything is through the phone. Absolutely everything.
Now that I'm budgeting, I do cash. But when I wasn't budgeting, I never saw cash.
Yeah, I do. That's why I do it. I give myself a certain amount. Yep. When it's up, I go get more.
I always within my
and then I get in trouble.
It's the same technique alcoholics use. I only buy one bottle at a time, but I never stop. As soon as one's over, I go right to the liquor store.
That's right. But I feel like I can, like, if she questions like where'd all that money go, you know, I can go through in my head and tell you. But if I use a card, I'm like, I don't know.
Well, you could just go online and see.
Card, you get it.
Well, that's true.
You get details, times, locations, and so forth.
Well, I keep track of my gas and fuel that way, but that's about it. Everything else I use cash for.
Well, but you have a business, so you.
Well, that's true.
You need to keep track of.
That's true.
Tax purposes and so forth.
No, I keep $60 in my truck hidden just in case shit happens. I forget my credit card, but I don't ever have cash in my wallet.
I feel you, bro.
It's just too easy. And every time I do swipe my card, we get a notification. My wife will call me, "What the fuck you buying now?"
But the hard part for me, like when you're paying cash, like you go out and get pizza for your family, and you pull all the cash out of your wallet and hand them like $70 or whatever, it hurts. It's like it's physically painful. But if you give them a card and they charge you $70, there's no like you don't see that shit leaving your hand.
I don't.
I feel it. But I just love. I use Apple Pay on my iPhone, and there's just nothing better than taking your phone out and waving it at the machine. It's just so fast and easy. I mean,
I'm not that
secure.
My wife does that. She does her phone and does this shit and just scares the shit out of me. Like,
do you guys round up? That's the question.
Absolutely.
I don't either.
You mean for like poor starving kids?
Well, I don't know what I don't even know if I don't even think they tell you anymore. They're just like, you want to round up?
Yeah,
you know.
I'd say no.
You guys know. So for Walmart, this is a scheme that Walmart runs. If they'll give $200,000 to some charity, and then they'll say to the customer, do you want to donate towards this charity? And every dollar they earn past $200,000 for that, they keep. They don't give it to that person. They keep it at that point. It's a.
It depends,
profit.
but you'd be proud of me today, Aphid Lip. I bought something online and it was like $17.99, and they said, "Do you want to round up?"
Yeah.
And I said no.
Oh, sometimes when it's like 99 or 98, I'll do it, and then my son's like, "Yeah, Dad," and we give each other a high five. But it's only if it's a penny or two, and I'm like, putting my chest out like I did something
Dad,
cool.
the philanthropist.
Greg, do you have a tipping culture over there? Do you have to tip for everything over there?
No, not at all. It's generally not a thing.
Okay.
You try to tip a taxi driver, they'll refuse.
Okay.
Very often.
Wow.
They'll take it. Yeah. No.
I know the UK is not big with tipping, but I would just want to know about China.
Yeah, China. Yeah, it's not really a thing. No, definitely not.
Shit, if I go buy a vape, that prompt comes up. Do you like to leave a tip? I'm like, what
yeah, it's almost on everything anymore.
It's crazy over here.
Even
you can get the automated. There's an app you can use to get taxis. And it's got that option there, but it's generally not. It's not a thing in China, tipping.
Like even our takeout now. Like if you ordered online, sometimes it's filled in like 20% or something. And I'm like, that's why I'm fucking going to pick it up. Like it's set for the standard. Like you got to change it to nothing.
Yeah, and they don't even offer 15% as an option. You got to do the custom tip.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I can't believe that.
Whoever you're getting it from knows you're doing that custom tip. They know you're giving them less than the guy behind you and the guy in front of you.
I don't tip hardly ever when I pick up. If I sit down and have a beer while I'm waiting for it, then I'll tip like the bartender or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
But not if I'm going to pick up something like a pizza or something, because we got right by my house. We have every like fast food chain pizza place, and my wife and kid, when I'm not home, they'll have it delivered, and I'm like, why? You can walk over there and pick it up. And I don't tip.
I give the bus person, the one that buses the tables, I'll give them a $5 or something usually, because the tip pool goes around to everybody, but the bus is always busting their ass to keep the tables clean and stuff. And the waitress has like the easier part of the job, I think.
Yeah, you're gonna get them beat up because the waitress is gonna be like, "I saw that guy hand you money."
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's my money.
Yeah, you better put that in the bowl.
Yeah, but the bus.
I wouldn't say the bus person has the easier job.
I don't think I never worked in a restaurant, but my niece does, and I hear this. I would never want to work at a restaurant. They all bust their ass. She's done all the jobs other than cooking, but
it changes your if you work at it, because I did. It changes your mind when you go and sit your ass down at a restaurant, because you know what's going on behind the scenes.
yeah, I was a kid. I worked in a deli, but I stayed in one place and just bust out sandwiches.
Yeah.
But
Scratching your ass.
The tip, no. Wash my no. It was like that.
For takeout,
picking your
I
nose.
might tip. I might not. It depends on what
If you're picking it up.
getting. Well, like if I go to Starbucks and I'm picking something up, yeah, even then I might leave a tip if
it's a big order. But if it's just a personal order,
the barista, they make your drink.
I just don't go to Starbucks.
I don't know. Why
Yeah,
there's no difference
on,
tipping when you go there versus when you pick it up. It's
Like,
I agree with that, but I don't tip anytime at Starbucks.
well,
I mean, it's like $5 to get a. Well, I get if I go to Starbucks, it's only to get a mocha frappuccino. I think they're like $6 now, and I'm like,
you're my brother from another mother.
Yeah, I'm not tipping
You're my
on.
brother from a Jewish mother.
I'm not tipping on that, man.
If
There ain't
I'm
no
picking up a
way.
big order for all the guys, yeah, I'll tip because I know it's like, sorry guys, here's some money. But if I'm just doing a personal order for myself or for my wife, no, they're not getting tip.
Yeah, no way.
They're like
way.
waitresses make under minimum wage, and that's why you tip them. But these people are making at least minimum wage.
Yeah, Starbucks is too expensive to tip.
Right.
I wouldn't tip Starbucks.
Oh,
We just lose.
Topple.
Topple.
No, I'm right here, man. Damn.
I was wishing.
So when,
He was like in mid.
Get out of here.
Smoke Steve's gone. Smoke Steve's got a big night tomorrow, and he's
I joined, he left. You know?
Last Dance is gonna have to end the show, which I'm probably about ready to leave. I woke up at 2:30 this morning. Oh,
What the hell?
Still doing that, huh?
fucking
There's no amount of-
no. I've been better because I've been using those nose things. Those nose spring
Those
things.
tips, yeah.
And I think that my snoring is one of the reasons why I don't get. Well, I mean, I don't know. I do something else and it seems to work for a little bit, and then I'm back to the same old thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2:30. But I did get another about 5 o'clock. I slept for about 45 minutes until it was time to get my son up.
Mm.
But yeah, 2:30, man. Because I wake up and I'm like usually I look and see if the sun's up. And a lot of times I can tell because I'm like, no, yeah. A lot of times I wake up and I can just tell because I'm like super tired still, and I'm like, oh, you better figure this shit out and get back to sleep. But then if it's even kind of light outside, or if I can hear the birds chirping, then there's no point in staying in bed. But this morning I woke up and I felt like I had slept a full night,
Mm-hmm.
So I laid there and I'm like, let me just see if I can go back to sleep. Because if I look at the clock, for some reason, it like triggers my brain and I'm like, I just can't go back to sleep after that. So I waited like 15 minutes and finally I looked and it was like 2:45 and I was like, no. I thought for sure it was going to be like at least like almost 5. Because I rarely sleep. I probably fell asleep around 9:30, so it wasn't like
Okay. So at least you were
horrible.
somewhat rested, yeah.
Yeah, I got 5 hours, 5.5, maybe 6 tops.
I'm told that every hour that you sleep before midnight counts as 2 hours to the body, based on
How can that be true?
based on light or time, or I don't know how it works.
Because what about the people that like?
Not true.
What about the people that like work, different hours and they go to bed at
Working night
6?
shift and sleep in the day.
Yeah, 6 p.m.
Maybe.
Only
they
you 4
burn out
hours.
or It's possible that they have rougher sleep.
I don't know, man.
If one more question before you guys shut it down. If India is going to be the new workhorse instead of China for a lot of goods, do you think quality will go up or down of those goods?
I don't think it will matter.
Take it easy, Topple. Yeah, I don't. I can't imagine India filling China's shoes, so it's hard for me to answer the question.
I don't think it will make a difference. I think that they're gonna work for pennies. So most of the shit we get that's cheap is cheap junk, you know. But
Yeah.
we want to pay for cheap junk because we don't want to pay. We don't want to pay. You know, we're not gonna want to pay for American people working and you know making $20+ an hour to put out, you know, because we're gonna have to pay 20-30% more for stuff, and some stuff we don't care if it's cheap junk. You know what I'm saying?
Who has suggested that India would be the new China?
Yeah,
It'll be cheap and nasty. Whatever. It'll be cheap and nasty.
Yeah, that's
I mean, there's a reason why India is not even anything close to China. You know, India, it's not their culture. They have a culture and a government that's focused on religion and on Pakistan, whereas China is, you know, has a government that's focused on growth, and you know, India is not going to change. India will never be able to take the place of China. Vietnam it'd be a better bet, even though they're nowhere near as big.
Or Indonesia.
Any place except India.
Most of the people I asked this question in the last couple of days are saying that the quality of the goods would go down unless regulation comes in from outside of India to regulate how it's created. I just thought it was interesting because, you know, cheap, but like Aphid said, when you're buying cheap crap, you're not expecting it to last. It's not like, oh, I bought this tool from Harbor Freight. I'm expecting it to be here for my grandchildren. It's like, no, I'm going to use this 2 or 3 times and shit's going to snap in half.
Yeah, you buy something, it lasts you a year. You buy another one. It's really cheap, you know. That's
right.
I've got a nice garden in my house, and I bought this automatic watering plant, that watering tool, and that's not going to last, you know. But I'll buy another one next year, and it's okay. It was cheap. It was like, I don't know, 200 kwai, 20 quid, 20 pounds. It's, you know.
If the quality is that much different, though, like say the stuff made in America is 20%, 30% more, which is probably going to be even more than that. But if it lasts drastically longer, I feel like that's still fair. Like I don't have a problem with something that's going to last a long time.
That's going to take generations to change, because that's not you know, that might have been what our grandparents, how they felt, and it might be how you feel. I'm not saying that's wrong, but we're the majority of the people are like what There Are for Lights was just saying, you know, we'll just buy another one, you know, it's cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now we're going to buy the one that's half the price, that's cheap and junk, over the one that's going to last a lifetime.
But what doesn't make sense to me is the whole Green New Deal thing that happened for 4 years with Biden and everything with lower carbon emissions. Wouldn't consuming less be a part of that concept and not having stuff you just throw away?
That's like saying saving money is going to keep more money in your bank account. You know, that's why you can't force things like that. You can't, you know, the Green New Deal or whatever you want to call it might be, you know, better for the planet, but you know, you just can't force things on people. You know, we are the way we are, and you can't just change overnight. You know,
apparently, Trump's testing that theory, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, I mean, people aren't liking him either, so
yeah, I hear you. I enjoy asking the questions because it's not an echo chamber in here. Even though people are saying we agree too much, I think we're just pleasantly not agreeing.
Who says we agree too much?
Topic was talking shit like that before he joined the panel. It's too friendly, and Roots was saying that he enjoys the vibe in here because no one's fighting.
Well, usually you're always arguing, or the arguments they're not here today.
Yeah,
two people not here.
the ones that argue are, but that's because those people. I mean, I'm not criticizing anybody because I enjoy everybody, and everybody's got their point, and everybody's got their place. But they, you know, those more vocal people just like to hear themselves talk, you know, and you know, I'd rather hear somebody's opinion. I'd rather talk to somebody I disagree with and learn from them than talk to somebody that's just gonna pat me on the back and say, exactly, man, great.
Yeah. But you said and learn from them. That's the second part of the equation.
Yeah, like Last Dance is probably my favorite person in the whole world, especially especially like in my internet world. And we disagree all the time, but you know, we can disagree and talk to each other and not yell and scream at each other, and just so each one of us can feel like we proved a point to ourselves. What's the point in that?
Yeah, you start yelling, you've lost the argument, you know.
I'm always excited, Scum.
All right, guys, what do you say? We call it a night?
Yeah. Thanks for hosting Last Dance the last 45 minutes or so.
Yeah, dock that from Steve's pay.
All right.
It'll be nice to have a Saturday night free, actually.
Yeah, it will be.
Because tonight I would just stand on my love seat and watch Dateline all night, and then I would have fell asleep like an hour ago.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Good seeing you. Good seeing you there for Lights. It's always good to see you. It's been a while. It's been a while seeing your face.
Yeah. It's always a pleasure, gentlemen. Always a pleasure.
Right. Take care, guys.
All right.
You look after yourselves, man.
All right.
Cheers, Last Dance, man. You take care of yourself.
All right. Great seeing
Thanks,
you.
buddy.
Yep. All right, that's it. Thank you guys for showing up, especially over in the chat there. You guys, I'm always got an eye on that, and you're always making me laugh. So I really appreciate it. And thanks for showing up on a Friday night. We should be back next week on Saturday. Of course, that's up to Smoke Steve. Have a great week, and talk to you all then. Bye-bye.